Welcome you guys back into my nice video. Understanding what's important about this video is understanding that every single day we're going to go and really dwell upon communicational skills so that we can grow everybody in the process of what we're doing. And now, what are we doing today to make sure that we're succeeding? I promise you now, every single day we must be sure in ourselves to understand the word I. I promise you now, if you understand the word I daily and you understand every single day how to lead people, and every single day you understand how to grow people, I promise you that's the number one aspect of life. I promise you every single day we have to make sure that no matter what we're going to do, is we're going to focus on a greater way of life to go and really do what we love to do every single day, regardless of what's going on. Because every single day we focus upon making sure that we're never waking up other people, but we're making sure that we're doing our work in the process. I promise you now, if you understand every single day that I find myself in a nice beautiful position every single day right now to go and do my video, because every single day I find out more and more about the world around me, because I understand that what's important is the word I. I love myself in terms of my word I, and I love I so much that I'm always looking to communicate more. I'm always looking to make sure that everybody else is going to have all the information they need to succeed, because what's important is understanding that we have to go and grow people. If you understand every single day how to grow people and how to really understand how to do YouTube videos and do anything around life to make sure that you're prospering and planning ahead, I promise you it's because you're doing your video. I promise you it's because of your word I promise you it's because of your word I only. I promise you now every single day, if you understand your word I, then you understand how to communicate. I promise you now every single time I start a sentence, I start with I end it with I promise you now, if you understand that, I promise you that's the rule of communication. I promise you now, every single time, I'm always planning to make sure that whatever I'm doing is I'm going to go and focus on planning my life ahead in the video. So I'm focusing on making sure that I just talk better in this video every single time, because what's important is understanding to give people more information about life itself and how you're living life and what's going on in your life for the past 24 hours, because we have to learn how to grow everybody. I promise you now, we have to understand how to always make sure that our communicational skills are growing in the process of what we're doing, because understand that if you're going and being compact in a nice beautiful area of your life where you're understanding that you have the word I promise you nothing can stop you, because understand that sometimes that whatever you're doing in life, I realize it's always that when you're doing your life, every single time in the word I promise you that's when you're going to understand life itself. I promise you now, every single time I understand that we just have to keep lifting our communicational skills every single time to make sure that we're giving people more ideas and more ideas and more ideas along the way, so that we can also find and prosper everything around life. So every single time I always find myself doing something around my communicational skills all the time, because what's important for me is that I grow myself in terms of my word I promise you now, every time I can do that, I promise you now, I understand that I give my word I in different ways, and then I understand every single time I'm using tactics, I'm using skills, and I'm making sure that either way that everybody is going to prosper with ideas along the way upon how I communicate. Because when I look to communicate now, I'm looking to communicate in different ways. I'm looking to understand different tactics of communicational skills, because that's very important for business and life and sales and whatever you're doing in life. And it's being able to communicate to yourself all day long the word I. Now, the more you can communicate that word I to you every single day, the more you can actually focus on planning your life and you can see the road ahead. I promise you can only ever plan your life when you have your word I promise you without the word I promise you it's because you're careless about everything. I mean, if you have no word I for I love you, I promise you then you have nothing. I mean, there's sense to make sure you understand to always have that word I in place, so that you can go and really use that magic wand, which is your word I. And then every single time we're going to understand that's how we expand communicational skills, and that's how we motivate ourselves to achieve something. And now, if you understand that's my motivation, or else my motivation is the word I make sure you understand that I love I so much that I never try to hurt anything in life, because I'm always trying to understand how to go and be more aware of life. So when I be more aware of life, I'm looking to understand what I can do today to succeed in different ways, because every single time it's always much more important to understand that when you have a nice beautiful video going, I understand every single time look for a way to understand that you can go and make your video much better all the time. Alright, either way guys, I'm making sure just to straighten out my video a bit, but what's amazing every single day is focus on understanding that if you want to better your communicational skills, you can, and you can always reach into the nice, beautiful, in terms of the nice and beautiful range of videos and whatever you're doing in life to make sure that you're expanding your vocabulary every single day is very important, but making sure that you're never missing out on videos every single day, and that you stay consistent in something in your life, and that you're improving your legacy somehow in your life is the record. So making sure every single day you're going to lead people in others, and you're going to make sure that no matter what, that you're going to be in front of people doing it eventually. Because if you want to make money today, and if you want to do something very special for yourself every single day, then you have to understand that you have to have the courage that you need to make sure that you're successful. So make sure you understand that you have to get that courage. Now, I mean, how do you get that courage? I mean, make sure you understand that you have to be passionate about something, and then go up in front of a crowd and start doing it at a busking performance today, and start doing it for free in front of people, and do it for free for 200 hours in front of people. And you're going to go through an experience here, and there's going to be different experiences every single day. But then what's going to happen is make sure that you understand that some people may get negative on you, and some people may be positive on you, but other people may never react to you as much as you want. But what's important is understanding that we're going to get results. So for example, with my YouTube account now, I understand that I'm getting some results now. I mean, within 7 days, I already have 600 views on YouTube. I mean, in a sense, so you have to understand that it's really picking up now. So every single day, I went from 30 hours to 33.5 hours of watch time in about 3 days. So either way, you must understand that no matter what, then my YouTube account is growing, but I'm understanding how it grows. I'm understanding that the more I'm in front of people, giving out my business cards here and there, the more people want to watch me. I mean, people want to watch me long term because I'm consistent online. I'm doing something online every single day. I'm posting videos online every single day. I'm making sure you understand I'm never chasing women. I'm never chasing kids. I'm never chasing anything. I'm never chasing anything other than the word I. I'm chasing the word I because that's where Jesus Christ is. I've rushed now either way. I understand the Bible so much today, but what's important is understanding that when I grow, I look for ways to be away from people as much as possible, and I look to be just around the word I realize, what's the word I do? I mean, the word I is everything. I mean, you must understand that I just look to be around I, me, and myself. I only. I mean, it's I who I want to be around. I mean, in a sense, so I never want to be around anybody else except I. If you understand that, now it's much more important that you understand that because I do this, I'm much more peaceful with who I am. I'm much more never regretting life. I'm never tearing my body. I'm never doing anything to neglect myself. I'm making sure I'm eating the foods that I need to eat every single day to focus upon something greater. But if you have to go to the store or something to just get soy milk, and you have to walk there 1 hour to just get a soy milk, I mean, just never even go in the first place, because it's a waste of time to go. I mean, it's a waste of time to go walking 1 hour somewhere to get one drink. I mean, in a sense, so never do that, please. And understand that you must go and understand that when you're traveling the world, you must have a trolley with you, and you must also have a shoulder bag, and you also must have a clothing bag for yourself, because eventually you must understand that what's important every single day is that we're changing into new clothing, and then we're going and searching for new branding photos, but we're also changing from one scenery to another once we can, because you have to understand that you have to travel the world and you have to go and be on your own if you want to have a great legacy. So in order for myself to be so successful online and what I do, I mean, you have to understand, I have to understand every single day that you have to understand that I have to be away from people. I have to be away from other people because they have no YouTube accounts. I realize they have no great legacies. And now most people are laughing at me today because I have a great legacy. But guess what? I mean, either way, I have a greater legacy than them because I'm focusing on never being around those people who laugh at me. I love life so much that I want to go and be much more successful than everybody else. So I have to go and be alone. I have to be alone, and I can never even be around my biological family. I can never be around them because they're never going to make my legacy for me. I mean, I can talk to them for 50 years. I mean, that's a waste of my time. I mean, so what's amazing every single day is focus on understanding that everybody else is wasting your time. I want you to understand that. I want you to understand that what's important is understanding every single day that you're the only one that is never meant to be wasting your time. I mean, never be around other people, but be around yourself, and understand that's the alone aspect of life. I mean, be a lone soldier. I mean, understand, because when you understand how to be a wolf, then you understand how to be alone. I mean, the sheep goes in millions of crowds, and they're like they're just like everybody else. I mean, anybody who's a wolf or an eagle, is somebody who's just going into the ocean or in the jungle. I mean, they're going alone. I mean, look at the shark. I mean, the shark's alone. I mean, the shark's a lone predator in the ocean. I mean, the school of fish is like the sheep and the cows together. I mean, never be together with anybody. I mean, what's important is understanding that you go alone. I mean, go alone throughout life, and you're going to learn the best aspects of life. You're going to learn really quickly how to live and how to really grow yourself and how to be more serious about your success today. So if you understand, I'm always planning ahead of the game. I'm always making sure that I'm ahead of what's happening in the next week, or just 2 weeks ahead of me, or 1 year, or 3 years, or 7 years. I'm always ahead of the game because I understand that what's happening now in my life is that I go and be much more proactive in my talents and skills to improve my talents and skills now, to make sure I can travel the world and do whatever I need to do every single day, to focus upon making sure that people can see me. I mean, in a sense of when people can see me, I have to go to them. I have to go to those nightclubs. I have to go to those hotels or RSL clubs, and I have to start going and really, really pronouncing my voice everywhere, and I have to start making some money. I mean, I have to put $500 in to make 1,000. I mean, in a sense, to make sure you understand either way, that when I make 1,000, I mean, I make 1,500. I mean, in a sense, so when I make 1,500, I first have to go and give the 60% tax with that. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand either way that what's important is making sure that we can go and focus on making sure that we're going to go and develop ourselves. But if you want to develop yourself, I realize the best way to develop yourself is get more information. I mean, get more information on how to do so, and then start doing the information. I realize that now, since I have so much time in my hands, because every single day I'm focusing on my word I understand that now I'm always developing my talents. I'm trying to develop my talents as fast as possible. I'm trying to upload as many videos with many skills every single day, and I'm trying to communicate to you every single day differently. And then I'm trying to always upload different photos and different videos, different music online, and every single day I'm uploading different content into my Mega Drive. And now I'm always uploading something into my Mega Drive every single day. So focus on understanding that anything that goes from my Mega Drive goes into YouTube or my Instagram. Or my other social medias. So focus on understanding that every single day I'm just always developing myself. I'm always developing my attitude. So what I need to understand every single day is that at the moment I'm never ever building much muscle on me. I mean, you must understand why. I mean, you must understand I do build some muscle here and there in terms of walking and all that, but exercise fully, I never exercise fully other than just walking somewhere. I'm never consistently trying to build my muscles other than just walking somewhere. Do you guys understand? Or carrying something just to be able to move around. But what's important for me is that, you must understand that the money of my life, in terms of money, is much more important to me than the muscle that I have. I promise you. Now, why is that? Because I understand that money is going to get me around the world doing my passions. I promise you, although it's never the money. It's never the money. But what's more important is understanding that when I get the money, I promise you I can get the money and then I can go around the world as well. I promise you now, every single day, I understand that's much more important to me, that I get the money and go around the world and travel the world than having a 2 centimeter bigger muscle. Because women never care about that. Unfortunately, women never care about muscles. Unfortunately, they never care about you either. Listen, unfortunately, you must understand. You're maybe a guy who has such big muscles, but no woman wants you. Where is your woman in life? They're going to other guys for $500. They're saying, I realize they want $100. They never want a bicep muscle. So make sure you understand that what's important every single day is focus on understanding that, or as most people are just unaware of what they're doing. So never ever do anything other than judge the word I, and then just be the individual who can be alone and just never regret anything, but have fun alone. Go and do something alone that's going to improve your legacy, and that's it. If you can just improve your legacy and stop watching Netflix all day, literally. If I watch my Netflix all day, how about this video? How about my music production? Music production and life coaching is much more important to me than my Netflix. But I understand I'm giving money to have Netflix. But I understand either way that what's important is I can watch it at any time now. So make sure you understand that no matter what, I realize what's important is make sure that you're going to take care of yourself and your heart and who you are every single day, because that way you're going to have the health that you need. So make sure you understand I'm always checking my temperature. I'm always touching my forehead like this. I'm touching my skin. I'm touching my shoulders, because the true aspect of my temperature is around my shoulders. And if my shoulders are cold, Or then I put something on. I put like a long sleeve shirt on. I love I so much to understand I have to go get myself all the clothing that I need, but all I need in terms of clothing and life is my word I. I mean, you must understand, my clothing is the word I. I mean, everything that I'm wearing right now is just one set of clothing. I mean, there's no 10 sets of clothing in my closet. I mean, you must understand that after 3 days, I throw this away, I get myself another one. I mean, I sleep in my sleeping clothes, I have pajamas on, and then I make sure that every single time before I go outdoors, I go and wear something that's going to be like an outdoor wear, and then I understand I look great, and then making sure all the time you're looking great and grooming yourself and preparing for what's to come, because what's happening every single day is focus on yourself and how you're going to move forward throughout life. And if you understand every single day that you have 24 hours, and everybody has 24 hours in a day, but what you need to understand is to plan it. Otherwise, you have to be planning your life ahead of the game. Otherwise, you must be alone, because nobody else cares about your legacy other than you. I mean, you're the only one that cares about your legacy truly. I never ever do your legacy. I personally will never ever do your legacy. I can never walk your shoes. I can only walk I shoes. I can only walk the word I shoes. I mean, whoever can speak the word I can walk those shoes in the word I. But everything in life, in terms of your shoes, I mean, you have to walk your own shoes. I mean, that's it. I can do anything I set my mind to, but just focus on understanding I'm never going to walk your shoes for you. I'm never going to do that for you. But guess what? I realize nobody else is going to do that for you. I mean, that's it. Because I want you to have all the credit for yourself. I want you to be the one to say, hey, I did walk this long and I did do it by myself. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that every single day, nobody is doing this video for I other than I. I mean, you're going to have to do your videos for yourself. I mean, you're going to go and create your content for yourself, because nobody else can do it but you. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that I'm doing my content for I, but your responsibility is to do it for yourself. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that anybody can do anything if they set their mind to it. But what's amazing every single day is focus on loving yourself every single day. I'm always loving I. I'm always making sure I'm always more aware that if I hit something on the table or something accidentally, I say I love I all the time. And then I make sure I'm always together with I love I. I make sure every single day I'm going to go and boost my content. I'm going to make sure that no matter what, I'm going to give people communicational skills in different ways. I'm going to make sure every single day I'm going to lift myself the most I can every single day. And then I'm going to focus on planning, and I'm going to focus on my career and legacy every single day to make sure that I can have a great time. I have to have a great time. I have to make sure that no matter what I do, that daily I'm going to go and prosper. I have to be moving around Australia. I have to be moving around the world. I have to be making sure that no matter what, I have more enough money to go and support myself every single day. But then I have to go and do my projects. I have to go and do something that I love to do. And then every single day I do that. I never do what I hate. I do what I love. I never hate anything. I never hate anything. I mean, there's nothing I hate in life. I just do what I love. I mean, every single day you must understand that when you go and do that every single day, you're going to focus on making sure that you're going to be productive upon what you're saying, and then focusing on giving that content into the world daily, and then you're going to be consistent about it all day long, because it's about legacy. I mean, if you have no YouTube channel, then you have no legacy. I mean, if you have no YouTube channel, then you have no legacy. I mean, you must have a legacy in life, or else you must have a YouTube channel to consistently be somebody online. Because if you're nobody online, I mean, guess what? I mean, how do you expect to have a great legacy today? I mean, you must understand that what's important today is having a great legacy and being online today more than ever, and being one of the early ones in the actual projects of life who is giving more content than everybody else, and then focusing on every single day, loving yourself and making sure that you're prospering and making sure that you're abundant. But many people are getting into relationships really early. They're getting into relationships really early. And now, why is it that they are getting into relationships really early? I mean, guess what? I mean, it's because they're unconfident in themselves. I mean, they're very unconfident. They're saying, they have no word I, and they're getting into relationships. They're saying, they're just unaware of who they are, and they're very insecure people. And now understand this, that if you get into a relationship very early, it ruins your career. Now you have to tend to your wife or husband or your kids much more than to yourself in your career. Then you make your kids or your spouse your life, or your boyfriend or girlfriend your life. And then you have to go around where they need you to go. And when they want you to go at 7 p.m. somewhere, if you never show up, then it means divorce. I mean, that's it. I mean, what's important is understanding that you have to understand that after 30 years of age is the best time to get into a relationship and to have kids. But never have kids and be in a relationship with other people before 30. I mean, put some time into it to make sure that you can be alone for at least up to 30 years of age. I mean, do you understand? Because what's happening with the governments and economy today is everybody's trying to screw you over except I. I mean, they're trying to make you work the 9 to 5. I'm never trying to make you work the 9 to 5. I want you to work 24/7. I want you to be able to go and boost your career, but they want you to work a 9 to 5 and understand this, that if you work a 9 to 5 job, I promise you it's the worst. I promise you it's the worst aspect of life. But what you need to recognize now is many people who are working on a 9 to 5 job are making the money, but or else they're never making the legacy. I mean, they're saying, but or else if I ever work the 9 to 5 job, I work 24/7. I get the money from the 9 to 5 job, and I put it straight into live events, and I go make live events around the world right away. I mean, there's no stopping. I mean, understand? So 9 to 5 job works for me. I mean, understand? I mean, I can go get the money, and I can put $1,000 into an event to make an event to make $10,000. I promise you it's that simple. But many people can never even do that. I mean, many people can never even do that. I can do that. I can make $10,000 from $1,000 because I can make events around and around my education system and around my life coaching and around my music production. I can make money. I mean, they're saying, but they can never do it because they can do it. I mean, anybody can do it, but they have to go and practice something that they love to do. I mean, you have to go to busking performances, like I told you. I mean, I've been doing some busking performances for 200 hours in front of people, and now I can do it. I can always do it in front of people. I just have to also just put some money in and all that, and make sure that I'm always developing those events around town, and then make my name big somewhere in life. And now it's a slow journey of a legacy, but my legacy is growing regardless of how many people are watching me today. I mean, they're saying, I mean, my legacy is growing. I mean, my legacy is growing because I'm consistent online. I'm doing something every single day to improve my legacy. I mean, in a sense, no matter what, I'm understanding that no matter what, I'm always learning the faculty of life. I'm making sure that no matter what, that everybody around me understands how to make money now. I mean, the only way you can make money now in business is make a live event, and that's it. I mean, make an event around yourself. I mean, charge people at the door, and then guess what? I mean, take the money to the bank. I mean, get the money to the bank, and then, I mean, never take money. I mean, never try to steal money. I mean, get it to the bank, and they'll tax you 60% of it, but at least you're going to make $10,000. I mean, that's it. I mean, you're going to make $10,000 in 5 hours, but you made $60,000 on a day, but they'll tax you $50,000, but you make $10,000. I mean, they're saying, I mean, it's just in 5 hours you made $10,000. I mean, guess what? I mean, either way, I mean, you must understand that what's important is realize this. I mean, never cheat and make money legally. I promise you. I mean, make it legally, because many people are cheating throughout life and they're trying to make money illegally, and they're trying to go and work on black, and that's never ever the way to do it. I mean, they're saying, I mean, they're trying to be self-employment, and they have a van. I mean, they invest in a van, and they get a van that's $33,000, and they go around with a sticker on the van of their own van in terms of their tap services. I mean, they do tap services or electrician services or laboring services. I mean, you understand? Or or they are a removalist or some type of service like this, and they 9 to 5 work. I mean, that self-employment work in the 9 to 5 is chaos. I mean, that's a local business. I mean, you understand? I mean, never do local business, because local businesses fail. I promise you. Why do local businesses fail? I promise you it's because they never improve their legacy. I promise you. The international businesses are the ones that improve their legacy. I promise you. Now, let's look at Djokovic, for example, in terms of Novak Djokovic. I mean, if he was only a local business, I promise you now, he only then maybe playing tennis in Belgrade, Serbia, and that's it. I mean, just tennis in Belgrade, Serbia, or Sydney, Australia. I mean, let's just say that Novak Djokovic is playing tennis all the time in Sydney, Australia only. I mean, who cares? I mean, Japan and San Francisco and America and all these people never care about Novak Djokovic because he's only in Sydney, Australia, man. I mean, so what you need to realize is when Djokovic plays in San Francisco and he goes to China, and he goes all around the world playing tennis. Approaching now, he's an international businessman. I mean, now he's an international business individual, because anybody who can go traveling around the world and doing their business is an international business. I'm doing my business locally here in Brisbane now. I mean, either way, I'm an international business. I'm doing my business all around the world. I'm never just doing it in Brisbane. I mean, do you understand? I mean, other people have a house or I realize they have a mortgage in one part of the world, and they work just in that town where their house is. I mean, and what happens is they get stuck doing that. I mean, they're unable to communicate their way. I realize they're unable to communicate their way out of that. I mean, in sense, so make sure you understand, never get yourself a mortgage and never get yourself into debt. I mean, but guess what? I mean, you have to get yourself into debt today. I mean, you have to get yourself into debt. I mean, you must get yourself into debt to make money today. I promise you, it's the only way. But what you do to make money in the long run is make sure you understand that you can go and give a service. I mean, you can give a service to get yourself into debt to make more money. And that's the only way that you can make more money. But you can never make money today saving the money. I mean, you can never make money saving money. I promise you. I mean, you can only make money giving money. I mean, you can only make money giving money. So when I give you $1 million, I can make $10 million. I mean, if I try to save $10 million, I may save $10 million in 10 years. I realize that although when I give $1 million today, I can make it today in terms of I can make the money back today, and I can also make another $10 million on top today. I mean, for every single day I give $1 million, I make $10 million in return every single 24 hours. I mean, that's the deal. I mean, that's much better, isn't it? I mean, is it better for you to make $10 million in 10 years or to make $100 million in one day? I mean, it's much better to make it in one day, isn't it? I mean, how do you make $10 million in one day? I mean, you give $10 million and you make $100 million back. I mean, it's possible. I mean, everything's possible. But what you need to do is realize you have to go and make events around the world. I realize you have to go and understand how it is to do that. I mean, for me, I have music production skills, and now I've been sitting today and I've been working on my music production for 9 hours straight. I mean, that's the kind of skills and assets and learning abilities you need to do for your business. I mean, that's my business. I have to sit here for 9 hours by myself and no woman around me and no kids around me, and I have to just work on my music for 9 hours straight without food and drink. I mean, that's it. I mean, guess what? I mean, that's learning for me. I mean, I'm learning really quickly on how to do everything much better. I'm doing it alone. I mean, there's no dad around me. I mean, there's no people around me except I. I'm everything, you know. I mean, there's no biological dad around me. I'm everything. I realize my word I is everything. So focus on understanding that if there was a wife around me, then I have to focus on her the whole day. I mean, do you understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, that's the thing. I realize if a woman or a man is following you in life and they're with you all the time, I mean, they're absorbing your time. I mean, they're taking your time away from you. But you're allowing that. I mean, never ever rush into a relationship is what I'm saying. I mean, if a woman is here and now with me, I mean, guess what? I mean, how about my music, man? I mean, how am I going to make how am I going to make a life for ourselves? I mean, how am I going to make a life for ourselves if I just focus on talking to her for 50 years, man? I mean, do you understand? I mean, talking to her for 50 years, I mean, I can make 50 years of videos. I can make 50 years of videos and make a life for myself here. I mean, how is she going to make my life? I mean, how is she going to make my life? I mean, when you're talking to your spouse or your boyfriend or girlfriend or another individual or your family member for 50 years and you're doing nothing else, I mean, that's boring, man. I promise you, that's boring. I promise you, it's the boringest aspect of life when you're talking to other people. I promise you, it's so boring. I mean, they have nothing to do, man. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Never talk to other people. I mean, never talk to them. I mean, if you have a wife eventually or a boyfriend or whatever, or a son or kids, I mean, that's something different. I mean, that's different. But have it after 30 years of age if you want to improve your legacy. I mean, that's it. Because many people, I've seen people who are 25 or 24 or whatever, I mean, they have 5 kids already and they have nothing to do in life. I mean, they just want to be around the kids. I mean, they're giving up already. I mean, they're giving up at 20 years of age. I mean, they're saying, some people are together for 15 years without having kids, man. I mean, they're saying, they're together for 15 years and they have no YouTube channel. I mean, these people have given up. I mean, you must understand, if you meet people who have no YouTube channels today, I mean, get away from them. I mean, stop talking to other people. I mean, who did I talk to today? I did talk to nobody except I. I mean, I had the best time today. I'm still having the best time because I realized in 9 hours of music production, I learned a great deal of music production skills. I learned some skills today. I'm making sure of it. I'm making sure every single day I can communicate my way into greatness. So I'm focusing on understanding that what's important for me is make a story every single day in a video about your life and go and do something that nobody else has done. Because what's important is making sure that you can get yourself around Australia or around the world as fast as possible. I mean, make sure you understand that I'm always available. I'm always making sure I'm giving out my business cards. I went recently to the nice and beautiful supermarket, and I was looking to get myself a coronavirus mask, and I went to 3 individuals and I just gave my business card quickly because they were speaking to me. I mean, they're saying I have now much more no regrets because I did start my YouTube channel and I did start my Instagram and I did start all my business occasions because I understand now what to do. I mean, if you understand business and life, I mean, look at what I'm doing and look at my business online. I mean, why is that my business? Because that's my legacy, man. I mean, that's my legacy. I'm creating my legacy. I mean, that's my whole business, is my legacy. I mean, what can improve your legacy today? I mean, go and do that. I mean, look at what I'm doing around my legacy. I mean, go and do something similar. I mean, that's it. I mean, if you understand that, I mean, that's an international business. I mean, an international business is a legacy. So look at Novak Djokovic, and he goes around the world on TV. I mean, he goes everywhere around the world to play tennis. And he's boosting his legacy, which is Novak Djokovic, is his full name. I mean, do you understand? I mean, actors, like people who are actors, like Jim Carrey and all these people are boosting their legacies as well. But they're American actors. I mean, they're big in America only. I mean, they're big in English countries. I mean, actors who are in English countries are big in English countries only. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that what's important is there's a whole big world out there. I mean, there's a massive world out there that people have never even seen you. I mean, in a sense, I mean, everybody in China can see you, man. I mean, they just have to search you up on YouTube. Brush, it's that simple. Brush, they're just one click away to see you. I mean, they're saying, but there's many people out there. I mean, there's many people watching different aspects of life, but people have YouTube channels, and now you have one of those YouTube channels out of 7.6 billion people. I mean, they're saying, but what is different about you, though? I mean, you have a new face. I mean, you have content to deliver. I mean, make sure you're doing far more work than everybody, but realize this, that your legacy lives on, and my legacy lives on forever. I mean, no matter what is going to happen, is people are going to come into my YouTube channel and my life, and they're always going to see my life and what is going on. But I'm living life better than all of them. I'm living a better life than everybody. I mean, there's a sense to make sure you understand why is that, because I have my word I. I'm making sure every single day you understand that I'm very confident in who I am daily, but I'm creating more music, I'm creating more passions, I'm creating everything I can much more, and I'm getting myself into situations where I have better signal with Wi-Fi, and I'm investing all my money and as much as possible into internet today as well, and transport and clothing and food and drink. I mean, do you understand? And also making sure that no matter what, that I can read a book here and there if I want to. I mean, what's important right now is delivering much more content for yourself. So if you understand how to go and really make some content out there and go and really give people words of encouragement, I mean, go and do that. I mean, go and just be a words of encouragement guru. I mean, go and do something around information work that's going to improve your legacy. I mean, my biological dad gave up on his legacy. I mean, he gave up on singing. I mean, he never wants to sing anymore. I mean, he never wants to do it for his legacy anymore, because he believes that other people never want him to do it. I mean, he believes in other people more than himself, and that's it. I mean, if you believe in other people more than yourself, then you'll give up as well. Just like my biological dad. I mean, I told him, I believe in you, man, but keep going. I realized, keep going, but he never wants to listen to me, man. I mean, he values other people's opinions more than me. I mean, big deal, man. I mean, career gone, but guess what? I mean, either way, I have no sympathy for that guy. I have no sympathy for you if you never want your career. I mean, if you never want your career to be big and to have a great legacy, I have no sympathy for you. I will never cry for you. I never cry for you. I never cry for anybody. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I cry for the word I only. I only cry for the word I only. I do everything for I. I make sure every single day that no matter what, I never want you to give up your legacy. I never want you to give up, no matter how difficult it looks. I want you to keep understanding how to grow yourself. I want you to understand how to talk with yourself every single day. I want you to understand to grow and lift yourself and other people daily with communicational work. And then you're going to understand how it is to really live life. I promise you, life is very easy to live if you're just alone with yourself. I promise you, as soon as you're with that individual and that individual and that individual, I promise you that individual is calling you on Wednesday to be with them for 10 hours, and that other individual, or I mean that one, you want her, for example, or you want him, and then guess what? I mean, then you have to go to them. I mean, yes, but never go to them and never want them, but just want yourself. But then if you understand that woman over there or that man, or else you may be going to them as well, or else if you spread out your life in between 20 people, I mean, now you have no time for yourself. But then I realize what happens is the 9 to 5 comes in the work, or else 9 to 5 comes into your life, and then that drags you away from those people that you want to hang around as well. I mean, they're saying. So what happens is, if you have a crowd that you're living with, I mean, they're all working a 9 to 5 job. I mean, all of them are working a 9 to 5 job in your area right now. I mean, they have no time for you. I mean, they have family. I mean, they have a family to be around. I mean, they have no time for you, man. I mean, they have no time for your sisters and brothers. I mean, you must understand. I mean, they have a family. I mean, they have cousins to be with. I mean, they have other people to be with in terms of 9 to 5 work. I mean, these people are traveling over there. I mean, these people are going the other way. I mean, life's leading people everywhere differently. I mean, you understand? I have no time for anybody other than I. I mean, you understand? Because there's no point in me calling 10 people today to hang around with them. I mean, there's no point in that for me. I mean, I was an individual calling all the time people. I was saying, do you want to hang out with me? I mean, do you want to hang out with me? I mean, I was so bored. I had nothing to do. I was on the dole. I was on the government individual payments. I was on the loan. I was borrowing money from the bank. And guess what? I mean, if you borrow money from the bank, then you have to give it back. I realized you have to work a 9 to 5 job to give it back. I was working a 9 to 5 job for 2 years, giving that money back. I mean, they come after you. I mean, you must understand, to never be in debt with the bank, other than making sure that you can make more money in return, but never work for the money that you get from the banks, because the bank will give it to you. I mean, the bank will give you all the money, but then they'll say, give it back to me, and they'll interest rate on you as well. I love that. I mean, do you understand what interest rate is? So if you get $10,000, I mean, they'll say, you have to give us back, let's say $70 every fortnight, but every 2 fortnights, you have to give us back another $70 on top. That has nothing to do with the loan that you gave. I mean, you have to be giving more in return. So by the time you give $10,000 back, you've really given $17,000. I mean, you've really given $17,000 for the $10,000 that you did get from the bank. I mean, you understand? I mean, you have to work $7,000 extra to give them for that $10,000 that you did get. I mean, that's an interest. I mean, they give you $10,000 right now, but then you have to give them back $17,000. I mean, you understand? So that's what I mean. I mean, never ever go doing that. I mean, never go get your credit cards. I mean, never get anything on a credit card today. I mean, you understand? I mean, unless you can use a credit card or money or other people's money to make more money. I mean, then it's worth it. I mean, if you can calculate that and you can realize how to do that for yourself, and then guess what? I mean, then it's worth it. I mean, if you understand you have a strategy or a plan with financial abilities to make more money like that, then what's important is understanding to do it. I mean, if I get a credit card, I can get a credit card today. I can get a credit card or a loan from the bank, and I can go and put it into one event somewhere. I book a room. I book a room for 8 hours. I put $1,000 to get that room, for example. Do you understand? And what happens from that point is I make $10,000 in a day from the loan that I did get from the bank. I can get loans from the bank today, and then I can put it into my events. No money down. I love it. I never have to give a cent to make more money. It's that simple. I can get money from the bank, and I can loan my money from the bank. I can get some loans. I put it into my events. I make more money from my events. I give it back really quickly to the bank, and that's it. If you understand how to do that, then you can go and start now. You can go get your credit card right now. It's so simple. But what's amazing is understanding that you try to do that for yourself. Try to make money with debt. Now, if you understand how to do that, it's risky. It can get risky, but it's never risky if you're making a profit. Try to get yourself into profit situations and try to get yourself around the world somewhere where you can get in the crowd, for example, to come and watch you. So if you can get people to come and watch you somewhere, now it's the best opportunity for you. Although if you're just boosting your legacy around town and you're just doing something around town with your legacy, and even if you're working a 9-to-5 job and you're boosting your legacy, eventually you're going to get that money from the 9-to-5 job, and then what you're going to do with it is you're going to make one event somewhere. Just focus on making the first event somewhere, and then focus on making profits from that one event. I love that. If there's no profit in that one event, never ever go to that place again. Let's start somewhere different. Let's start rebuilding again, but never be in debt from that point. If you're working 9-to-5 job, work and get the money and put it into an event, and that's it. If you lose, then you lost your 40 hours of work time as well, and who cares? That's it. But then let's just make sure that we're never losing our time and money, but we're making sure we're making profits either way. So if you lose $1,000 in this profit, if you lose money or time, make sure you learn from it. So if I go to Mounties RSL today and I give $500 and nobody shows up, or else then you must understand that those people who do that lost the money because nobody did come and show up to your event. If you give $500 and nobody shows up to your event, guess what? Then you lost the $500 because you still did rent the room out. What you do is never go there again. Never go there again. So that $500, I learned something. There you go. I'll never go to that place again. And that's it. I never lost money here. I never did lose money because I learned from that. That's it. I put $500 to learn something, and that's it. Now let's go put $500 here. And do we make a profit? Maybe no, and maybe yes. But we're going to find out. Alright, now find places around the area and in your town right now where you can go today where there's a massive crowd that's going to watch you. And what you do is never do a free events. Never do free events in front of people unless it's busking performances. If you do busking performances, which is on the street, I promise you, many people will just walk by you and they'll never ever appreciate you, and they'll never ever try to do anything to help you grow. I promise you. Do you guys understand that? So what's important is understanding either way that what's important is go and fit the criteria of somebody who can make a great legacy every single day, and then focus on understanding that you have the time and ability now to succeed. Because I understand that for myself, for example, in terms of my word I can go right now around events around the world and do live coaching all my life. I can do it right now. But what I want to do now is I want to increase my music skills. I have music to do. I have some music skills to do. So I'm making sure that I'm still getting there. I'm still getting to the point of no return. Understand? Once I get to that point of no return, I promise you, I'm flying the world. I promise you. I promise you now, either way, I'm laying low for now, but I'm making sure you understand either way that my life coaching videos are happening every single day. As soon as I get better and better, I realize my life coaching videos are excellent. I promise you, these videos are excellent that I make. I promise you, it's excellent that I'm giving you this nice and beautiful knowledge because this is my work. But my life coaching is exceeding, or else my life coaching abilities is exceeding expectations. And that's after 800 hours of videos. So I'll just give you that reference, because after 800 hours of speaking on videos, you are somebody in that field. I mean, you understand? So make sure you understand either way that now I have to improve my music production. And that's why I'm just laying low until the music production can fit a criteria for me to be able to travel with music production too. So right now I can make 1 hour music right now, and I can go around the world somewhere and play 1 hour music in front of a nightclub. 1 hour set. I mean, in a sense, so I still have another one coming up. So I have 2 hour sets. I can make a 2 hour set, which is almost done. And then I understand either way that I just continue and I make these 1 hour music sets. I just make 1 hour music sets. And then either way, I understand eventually I have 10 hours of music sets. I'm sure that's more than enough. It's more than enough for me to have 6 hours of music sets. I mean, it's more than enough for me to have 6 hours of music sets. I realized that once I have 6 hours of music sets gone, I can go to my first nightclub and I can rent the nightclub from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning. And I can just be the one individual who does that. I can go to any club around Sydney, Australia or the world, and I can play one music set. I can play one music set the whole night, and I can charge people. I mean, all I'm doing is I'm standing on the freaking DJ deck and I'm just DJing my music in front of people, and that's it. I mean, you understand? But where can I find the audience? I mean, where do you find the audiences that you need for life coaching and whatever you're passionate about? I mean, go and experiment. I mean, what else do you want to do? I mean, go to different nightclubs. I mean, go and do it for free. I mean, go and experiment with what you want to do for free around nightclubs and around the world, and go to these places for free in Life Coach. I mean, do you get it? I mean, although that's an experiment, but I experiment with money. I put money on the line when I do it. I mean, in a sense, so yes, I mean, there's a risk that I may lose, but guess what? I learned something. I mean, I never lose anything. I never lose. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that if you want to experiment today to make money, then you have to put in some money to experiment. I mean, you can experiment for free. I mean, it's easy to understand where the crowd is for free. I mean, the crowd's everywhere for free. I mean, but if you're doing it for free, I mean, you'll never make money from it. I mean, you'll never make money from it if it's for free. I promise you. If you want to go to a nightclub today to make music and to produce music and be a DJ, and you want to do it for free, then you'll never make the money on the door. I mean, you may get some free attention on the day. I mean, you may get thousands of people. I mean, you may get thousands of people watching you today online for free because you did DJ on the day. I mean, if you go to a festival and there's 50,000 people and you're the DJ who's done it for free on the day, I mean, 50,000 people seen you and that's it. I mean, do you understand? Because that's worth it. But if they call you, I mean, just go for free. I mean, go for free because that's what they do at festivals. I mean, that's what they do with life coaches and public speakers. I mean, you understand? But guess what? I realize if you're somebody in a position to charge them in a way that you never need to go there and you never need to have that attention that they have, then you can charge them and you can say, hey, I mean, this is what I charge you, and that's it. I mean, you can charge them. But if you say $150,000 and they say nothing in terms of they never want to call you because you're pricing them, I mean, they're giving you 50,000 people over here for free to come, but you're charging them 150,000. But they can never afford you. I mean, now nobody gets the deal. I mean, so be careful. So if you're going to charge them, I mean, make sure you understand that it's more about go for free if you have the money. Or else if you have the money already, go for free because that's a free opportunity to be in front of an audience. I mean, they're saying, if they call you, but if you're making your own events, is what I mean. I mean, charge people for your own events. But when other people call you, I mean, go for free. I mean, when other people want to interview you for free online, I mean, do it for free. I mean, do it for free because that's a lifetime promotion for you. I had one individual who did interview online, but that individual is going to be promoting me forever, in eternity. I mean, forever people are going to understand me in that video, and that's it. I mean, he's going to post it somewhere, and people are going to watch it forever. I mean, what's important is understand that people are going around interviewing people and putting it into some type of website that they have so they can help people, and that's it. I mean, you can help people like this. I mean, you can go and interview other people and you can go and make a business out of it. I mean, Tom Bilyeu does it. I can say Tom Bilyeu does it. So either way, understand that no matter what, I just had to go into my nice, beautiful, my nice and beautiful Apple Watch right here to just switch off the alarm. So sometimes I understand that what's important is never get angry at anything, but just make sure you continue your video if somehow you did pause the video, but then it was playing while you're doing something. So either way, just continue your video and just make sure that no matter what, that you're going to go and prosper and do something very abundant for yourself to make sure that you're going to grow, and you're going to make sure that either way that we're going to be the best kind of individuals in the planet who can make something happen. Because every single day that when you're doing something very important for yourself, I mean that we're always looking for something to do. I mean, be somebody who's always looking for something to do, because that way you're going to go and prosper, and you're going to understand that once you can go around the world and travel the world, it's because you have made that. I mean, you did create that. I mean, you went and you put in the work. I mean, you put in the work in life coaching or singing or acting or whatever it is that you're passionate about. I mean, even in music production or instruments or whatever it is. I mean, you put in the effort. You were doing some practice and practice and practice and practice, and then eventually you can get up in front of people, and now you can charge people for what you do, and now you're professional at that. I mean, now you're professional, and now because you're professional, I mean, everybody around the world wants to see you doing that. I understand, because you are so good at that. And that's what I mean. I mean, when you become an excellent music producer and you go around the world and you go around the world doing music production, I mean, it's because people want to see you, because you are the one creating that. I mean, it's because of you. I mean, it's because you put in the effort to make all that music that you did. I mean, if you do go around, I realize if you go around the world public speaking, it's because you did create that for yourself. I mean, you made all the videos. I mean, you put the effort in. I mean, you're somebody of a guru. I mean, you're teaching somebody something. I mean, you're somebody in a field of something that you do. I mean, there's sense. So as soon as you're an international business, I mean, you are a somebody. But if you're a local business, I mean, you're a somebody, but how about international? I mean, everybody's a somebody, but understand that somebodies, in terms of those who are great legacies, are never those who are just behind the scenes in terms of the crowd. I mean, great legacies think alone. I mean, great legacies are big, like Nikola Tesla and Jesus Christ. You must understand, anybody who has a great legacy is like Martin Luther King Jr. or John F. Kennedy or Mahatma Gandhi, or anybody who has a great legacy is alone much more than other people, and is also somebody who's helping far more than other people. I mean, do you understand? So if you're helping other people more every single day for free, eventually you're going to get the money. Russia, you're going to get the money because you're so good at what you do that now you're going to start charging people, and you're going to do live events. I mean, you're going to do whatever it takes to get the money, and you're going to put into an event somewhere, and then you're going to use other people's money to succeed, and that's it. Russia, if you understand how to do that, and then you go around areas, and if this area never works for you and the profit never works in that place, Russia, you never go to that place again. So if you go to Maldives in Australia or wherever in terms of Australia, and one place in Australia never gives you a profit, I mean, never go there again. I mean, let's try another place. I mean, if you find 500 places in Australia where there's no profit, I mean, never go there again. I mean, you've been there. I mean, you've done that. I mean, let's go something else. I mean, let's go do something else. But while you're doing all that, I mean, be recording yourself, because that way you're never losing money. I mean, if I go, I'll show you something. I mean, if I give $500 on the day to do an 8-hour seminar in front of people, and only 3 people show up, and I just make my money back. I mean, let's just say I make no money on the day, but I do an 8-hour video of life coaching in front of 3 people. I mean, you understand? I mean, I have 3 people at my seminar. I mean, I never even made my money back. I mean, you understand? I may have lost money on the day, but guess what? I mean, either way, I mean, if I did lose or if I never did lose, I mean, I'm going to make an 8-hour video producing content on a day. I mean, of course, I'm going to be much more successful because I did rent out the room for 8 hours. I'm going to record myself for 8 hours. I'm going to record myself for 8 hours, and I'm going to speak to no people in front of me then. I'm going to make my money's worth. I mean, they're saying I put $500 to have a room and nobody did show up. I mean, if nobody does show up, I mean, guess what? I'm going to do 8 hours of videos then, of life coaching. I'm going to make my money's worth. I'm going to make sure I'm never going to leave. I'm going to go on with the Nice Beautiful seminar. And that's it. I'm going to teach the chairs something. I mean, in a sense, so either way, then no matter what, I'm always profiting. I'm always understanding that it's never going to happen. Because what's going to happen is I'm understanding that I'm going to make much more than that. I'm going to make every single day much more. So every single day that where I put my money is where my heart goes. I never put my money into drugs. I put my money into people who can make me a great legacy. Unfortunately, that's just the word I. Unfortunately, there's nobody else that can make my legacy for I except I. But I put my money where I go, where I see people are making great legacies, and I put money in that because I understand they can teach me something about legacies. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand to go read as much as possible from me and other people so that you can go and understand how to go and deliver much more of a greater legacy for yourself, because it's much more important today than ever before to understand that I'm just in my 20s, but most of the millennials today, they're having sex around and they're doing nothing, and they're going around nightclubs, and they're around the coronavirus pandemic now. And either way, I realize the nightclubs are opening, but some are closed. I mean, some nightclubs are closing up as well. So you must understand that what's important is understand this. That if you find the areas of where music producers and other people are going around the world to do events, I mean, make sure you understand that what's important is trying to get yourself in front of people in a way that works for you. So there are millions of ways that you can get people in front of your events. I mean, there are billions of ways. I mean, understand, there are more ways than that. I mean, there's more ways that you can think of to understand that there is so many ways to get the word I into you, that you understand either way that people will come to your events if you just go to the people. I mean, where is the people? I mean, what events do you find the people at? And then just go to those events. I mean, book a room for that event on that day, and then people will just come into the day. I mean, people will just come into your nice, beautiful lifestyle. I mean, your nice and beautiful lifestyle has people because you did place your money into an event where people are going to go, and that's it. I mean, if I go to the home nightclub venue on a Friday night when it's open and there's no coronavirus going on, and I booked the night, I gave them $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 to book the event. I mean, then I book an event, I give $3,000 to be the DJ on the day. I am the DJ. I mean, if I were to be a DJ from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock, I have to book the room. I have to give them money right away. I mean, they're saying I have to give people money right away to be able to be somebody on that day. So what I do is I make an event around myself. But I have to fund the event. I have to fund it. I have to give the money to have that event. So what I do is I give the money, but I charge people at the door. I mean, whatever I make at the door is mine. I mean, whatever I make at the door is mine. And mine alone. And that's it. I mean, you guys understand that? So what I do is understand, I give $3,000 on the day. I may charge $100 entry. I mean, $100 entry, I get 30 people in the doors. I've already made my nice and beautiful money back with 30 people. I mean, in a sense, I made my money back, but I never give that to the government. I never give my money back to the government. I mean, if I give $3,000 and I make it back, I mean, that just goes to me in my pocket. I mean, that's my money. I mean, in a sense, I never get taxed on that. I gave that money from my pocket. So then, any other 30 people that come in, I make another 3,000. But now, after that nice, beautiful cap of understanding either way, that what happens before the event, it may say, or as the event, in terms of the event, that it can say that the event is sold out before you even get there. I mean, the sense of what happens is if you book 1 month ahead of time about your event, and people recognize you, or even 1 year ahead of time, and then it says sold out. I mean, your event is sold out. I mean, it's max capacity. So what do? I mean, you made the money already. I mean, all you do is show up and do your event, and that's it. I mean, although you only ever get the money on the day. I mean, if I book an event 1 year from now in Ibiza to do music production in Ibiza, and it says sold out on my event, I have to rock up 1 year later on that day to make the money. I love that. I mean, do you understand? But I gave the money already. I did book the event 1 year ahead of time. I gave them the money 1 year ahead of time, mate. I mean, do you understand? I mean, the event for that day is booking out, although it's sold out, which means I already made the capacity and full of money on that day. So if I gave Ibiza, Spain, the nightclub, I gave them $10,000 for the night. I realized the event's up on Facebook now, but people are going to start getting tickets, and there's 1 year to go until it gets sold out. I mean, do you understand? And either way, in 1 month's time, it gets sold out. I just made $30,000, but I only ever get that money and my $10,000 on the day. I have to rock up to the event. I have to give the money. I have to give my own money to get to Spain as well, because I'm going to just pick up another $20,000 on the day, and that's it. I mean, that's it. I went to get free attention, and I pick up $20,000 on that day, and that's it. I mean, that's how it is. I mean, in a sense, so if you're understanding how world travel is, and you see music producers all around the world, and you see you see famous people and massive people who are famous around the world, I mean, what's important is say that you're much more massive. I mean, I'm always much more massive than everybody else. I mean, make sure you understand that you see somebody who's very famous around the world, traveling and doing music production or public speaking around the world. I mean, and they're booking events around the world. I mean, they are giving the money from their pocket before they even get there. I mean, and then they're giving the money to get on the plane to get there as well. I mean, they're funding their own events. I mean, Novak Djokovic goes to Australian Open and wins $3 million at the tournament, but he gave already $100,000 to just be in the event. I mean, he gave from his own pocket to be at the event, even though he's number one in terms of tennis. I mean, even though he's number one at tennis, now either way, you must understand, it never offends me to call you number one. I mean, everybody's number one. I mean, but guess what? I mean, every day, focus on understanding. I'm pretty sure the tennis players around the world, I'm pretty sure they have to give money to go and win these championships. I mean, they give $100,000, and if they lose, I mean, they lost $100,000 as well. I mean, understand? Because nobody's going to call the number one tennis player of the world anyway, mate. I promise you. I mean, who cares about that? I mean, understand? I mean, what happens is they make events around tennis at places, but then people just call up the event and say, hey, I'm Novak Djokovic. I'm this individual. I mean, guess what? I want to give you $100,000 just like last year. I want to enter the Australian Open. I'll give you $100,000. I want to qualify. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's how you do it. I mean, that's it. I mean, some people in terms of tennis players can just give $100,000 and they already never have to qualify for the Australian Open. I mean, they just go into the rounds right away. But other people who can never afford to give $100,000 to enter the Australian Open have to do some qualifying matches to get into the Australian Open. I mean, they have to have 3 matches before the event happens. I mean, do you understand? But those who give $100,000 can just skip right into it right away. I mean, they can just be in the first round and that's it. I mean, do you understand? So either way, I mean, what's amazing is understand that there's a free way and there's also money ways. I mean, you understand? But the best way to boost your attention is make sure you're increasing your profit in money and time, and being on your own and having the skills and mindset every single day to focus on what people are doing. But when people are going around the world and traveling and making events, I promise you, they're giving the money from their pocket. I mean, nobody else is calling them. I promise you, nobody's calling Timmy Trumpet and Sunset Brothers and Novak Djokovic and all these famous people to make events around the world. I mean, who's making events around the world? I mean, nobody's calling them to do that. I promise you, nobody's calling them. I promise you, if it's their event, I promise you, they're funding the whole event, and that's it. Adriana Grande, She makes a concert. That's her concert. She put money into that concert to make her concert. Nobody done that for her. Eminem has a concert of singing, rapping, music somewhere. He put money into that event to make more money out of that event, and that's it. When Eminem can come to Australia to sing rapping, he always has an audience. There's always an audience for him because he's popular. When he's popular and he has attention, he just comes to Australia every single year and he'll make money. I love that. He has to come. Eminem has to come every single year because he has to make that money again and again. You have to make money. Every single day, focus on understanding that what's important is go travel to places and give money from your pocket to make an event overseas and get there with your money, and that's it. And then make money on the day, and that's it. The only way that you can make money today is to give money. The more money you give, the more popular you are. Isn't that simple? It's so simple. But if you do more free events around the world today, and you do it for free, you're going to get more popular regardless. Even busking will make you more popular. Always. Busking will always make you more popular. But what you do with busking events is try to go and exceed expectations. Try to understand that you get yourself a portrait, and you get yourself real portraits, and get yourself business cards and post portraits and everything on the walls and promote yourself fully. Never ever wait for people to get your business card. Because somebody may look at your portrait and may say, I'll remember that name at least. But they may never get your business card though. But understand this, that if you do that, you're exceeding your own expectations here. You're actually promoting yourself even more. In a sense, so make sure you understand either way, that if you just invest in yourself to promote yourself the best way, that's the best way. If you just have your business cards on the floor, but 100,000 people walk by and they never pick it up, but you never have other portraits or anything to show that your name at least, it's because you're laying yourself down. I did that recently in Brisbane. I had just my business cards on the floor, and 100,000 people walk by and never ever seen my business card. That's 100 customers gone. That's 100,000 customers gone. But they never were interesting in my life to even be curious about my life. So guess what? I never need their attention. I never need their attention when you get it. I never need them. That's free attention. It's for free. Who cares about them? But guess what? I realize what is important is try to have a better attitude than that. Try to understand either way that what's important is I have online success for the rest of my life. I have attention for life online. I have attention for eternity online. I can afford to lose 100,000 customers. I can afford it because I gain anyway, regardless. I gain infinite returns online. I gain infinite people online. You understand? So what's important is understand that those people who never want my business card on the floor never deserve to see my content, and that's it. I want people to lay down for my information. I want them to lay down for my information to get it. I want them to bend down, baby, to get it, and that's it. Because I understand that what's important is my information. My information is important. But guess what? If you understand what my knowledge is already, then understand that you never have to lay down. And you never have to bend over to get it. But guess what? Still, then you never get to see my life. Then you never even get to follow me. And guess what? You never have to follow me either. You can just go and follow Jesus Christ. In a sense, so what's important is understand either way, I'm still successful. I'm still more successful regardless of you. In a sense, so what's important for me today is making sure that, otherwise, and either way, is making sure that I'm always prospering and growing and traveling around the world as much as I can. But I'm focusing on never ever becoming the crowd, and I'm focusing on never ever going back to the crowd. I make sure that if I have to go in front of the crowd, I'm going to charge them, or I'm going to do a busking performance. And that's it. I'm doing it for my legacy, and that's it. Now, what's important is understanding that the faster you make money today, the faster you can go around the world. I mean, it's that simple. So find yourself around situations where you can get yourself in front of people as soon as possible. I mean, get yourself in front of people as soon as possible and start really understanding that you have to go and plan around that and plan in a video as much as you can around those subjects. But the first step for me in life to make events is to make the first event around life coaching and to make the first events around music production. I mean, just make the first event. I mean, forget everything else. I mean, once you make the first event and you do the event on the day, I mean, you can always go to that event now. I mean, you've been there. So if you've been everywhere around Australia, around all the nightclubs, I mean, you can always call them up this time, and it's going to be easier for you this time to make events. I mean, the first time is the most difficult time. I mean, yes then? I mean, guess what? I mean, the first time is the easiest times too. I mean, guess what? I mean, you just have to unlock it. I mean, you have to unlock your potential to be able to understand how it is the first time round to do it. I mean, once you've done it the first time, I mean, the second time is much easier, and then the third time is much easier, and then the fourth time is much easier. I mean, it's always easier the more you do it. So understand this. I went around Australia. I mean, I've been to Adelaide, I've been to Brisbane, I've been to Sydney, I've been to Darwin, I've been to Adelaide Springs, I've been to Perth, I've been to Hobart, I've been to Cairns, I've been to Townsville, I've been to Manake Island, I've been to Australia Zoo, I've been to most of the Australian areas of life. I mean, that's it. But now, for myself to go to Adelaide again, I've been there already. I understand how it is. I mean, it's so much easier now to actually go there. The first time ever when I went to Adelaide, I was saying, what am I going to do today? Although, guess what? I mean, you must understand, I went around Adelaide. I went around Adelaide. I went around the whole thing, man. I went everywhere around Adelaide. I mean, guess what? I mean, I experienced a blissful time. I had the best time, but it was my first time. But my second time in Adelaide is like familiar zone. I've been here before. I've been to Adelaide before. I've been to Brisbane 3 times already. I've been to Brisbane 3 times. I mean, in a sense, so the third time I came here, I've been here 3 times already. I mean, it's so simple to even just be in this city now, understand where all the places are. I mean, you become familiar with it. I mean, in a sense, so the first time I came to Brisbane and the first time I did visit these areas around Australia is excitement, and it's a new area. I mean, it's a new familiar zone. But it's no familiar zone. I mean, it's a new scenery. So new sceneries are going to be spectacular, and it's going to be happiness, of course. I mean, of course it is. So then understand that the first time I enter these nightclubs in Australia for the first time, it's going to be happiness. It's going to be just like the times where I went to these cities of Australia for the first time. I mean, but then once I return to those nightclubs, now it's going to be like familiar zone area. I mean, it's a familiar zone. I understand how it is. I mean, so once you've done all the events around Australia, and you've been around Australia, now it's time to go somewhere else. I mean, let's go somewhere else now. I mean, let's go to New Zealand. I mean, let's go somewhere else around the world. I mean, let's go somewhere else around the world. I mean, let's go to somewhere new for the first time. So focus on being in your country and going everywhere in your country as much as you can, and be in front of people doing it as well. And eventually you're going to say, hey, I'm ready to go somewhere else. It's just natural. I mean, it's so natural to do it. But focus on the first step. I promise you, the first step is the best one. I mean, so I may make 50,000 events in Australia, but I have to do the first one. I have to focus on the first one. I never focus on 50,000 events, man. I focus on one event only. I make the first event, and then I make the first event again. I make the first event somewhere else. I make the first event somewhere else. So I'll give you an example. I mean, let's just say Marquee, Australia, and there's Home the Venue nightclub, and there's also Gold Coast nightclubs. I mean, guess what? I booked my event the first time round at Sydney, Australia. I mean, and then either way, I get that nice, beautiful event going, and I do that event. I just do that event. I mean, that's my first event. I have nothing else in focus except to do that event. I just focus on that one event. I do that one event. I mean, did I make a profit, or how did it go on the day? Because I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to learn from it really quickly, because I'm going to write down as much as I can to make a profit every single time in that nice, beautiful nightclub. I mean, you understand? I'm going to make a profit as much as I can. So if there's no profit, I have to learn from it really quickly to make a profit from that event. I mean, understand? I mean, either way, I did the event. I mean, that's done. I mean, my first event is done, but let's make another first event somewhere else. I mean, I go to Home Nightclub this time. I mean, it's my first time again, but it's my first event in that nightclub. I mean, now as a music producer, it may be my second event in Australia, but it's my first event in Home Bar. I make it. I mean, did I make a profit, and what did I learn from that day? I mean, did I learn something from that day? I mean, go and write everything down and put it into a video as well. And then guess what? I mean, either way, I mean, let's go Gold Coast now. I mean, I call up the Asylum in Gold Coast. I go to that nightclub. I mean, did I make money on that day? I mean, how much was it? I mean, I get the prices. I get all the prices of the rooms that I did rent in those nice, beautiful facilities. I get the numbers of the referees. I mean, who are the referees? I mean, the referees are the people, the owners. I mean, the owners of those nightclubs. I call up the casino. I call up the reception area. I call up that nightclub. I mean, there's a phone number at that nightclub. I call them up. I book the event. I say, I give you money online. I mean, today you have to give people online the money already ahead of time for them to promote you, and that's it. So I call up the Asylum in Gold Coast, and I say, I want to rent out the booking of the room for this day. I mean, are you guys available? First, they'll give you a room straight away. First, whoever you call up will give you a room to give a live performance right away. And why is that? Because you're going to give money to them already. I mean, you're going to book the room by giving them money to have that room for the day. But then just say, hey, I want you guys to place a ticket. I want tickets to be sold at the door. I want you guys to share a link so that I can also use that link so I can promote it to my audiences. I mean, either way, you must understand that what's important is anybody who's following me is going to understand that I'm in Gold Coast. I mean, they may be in Sydney, Australia, or they may be wherever around the world, but they're going to see my page and they're going to say, hey, Danny Milivojevic is in Gold Coast on this day. I mean, we can go see him. I mean, in a sense, so either way, you must understand that whoever's in Gold Coast on that day is who you're promoting to. So what's going to happen is that nightclub already has people that's going to come to your events because they're just regulars of that nightclub. I mean, they're regular people from that nightclub. So what happens is you charge them on the door and you make money on them because you did book the event on that day. But the people who are in that nightclub are going to get their own security guards. I mean, they're going to get their own security guards. Approach now, you must understand that. Approach every single nightclub in the planet has to have their own security guards. Approach that has nothing to do with you. I mean, do you understand? So either way, they're making money on. I mean, they are making money on the alcohol and drugs, all the gambling machines on the door. And in terms of the door, is your money because you're giving them money. I mean, you're making events. But if you expect to go there for free, to have half the money on the door, Approach no. I mean, you have to give money to rent the place, and then you have the door entry, and that's it. I mean, you can never go for free somewhere to make money on their doors. I mean, guess what? I mean, you can go everywhere for free to make money on their doors, but give money first. I mean, give money to make money. I mean, never try to make money without giving money. I mean, that's the number one rule. I mean, if you want to make money, I mean, you have to give money to make money. I mean, never try to make money without giving. I mean, never try to make anything come true without giving first. So make sure you understand that. I mean, if you believe in yourself, in your business, then you put all the money on the line. I mean, put all the money on the line for your business. And guess what? I mean, if you lose, I mean, it's your business. But guess what? I mean, your business is a growing business, so that money is coming back elsewhere. I mean, if I give $1 million, and let's say something happened, and I mean, let's just say that something did happen, and for some reason that you lost the money that you gave, I mean, you're going to make it back regardless. You have to make that money back regardless because your business must be a growing business and your business must be a profitable business. So to profit in your business, you have to make live events. I mean, you must make sure every single day that when you make live events around people, that you have a Ticketek holder or somewhere also that people can get your event tickets. But make sure you understand that when you're first starting out, I mean, the nightclubs are already done for you. I mean, the nightclubs will promote you. I mean, they will promote you at the RSL clubs and their workers clubs and their nice beautiful clubs have people watching their websites and their Instagrams. So what you do is go and understand to just give them money on the day. I love I. And then what you do is on the day, they shall promote you for 1 month or whatever, but make sure it's 1 month before you even get there. I mean, it has to be. I mean, it has to be 1 month. But what you do every single day is focus on making an event. And if you want to make 4 events, or otherwise, now, if you want to make 4 events, that's 1 month ahead of time. And it's going to say, I mean, let's just say today is January, but on the February 4th is when you're going to come to the event. But then on the 11th of February, you're going to be there again. And then on the 18th, you're going to be there. And on the 24th, you're going to be there again. I mean, you're going to make 4 events in that month. And you're going to book the room 4 days in that month. But you're going to give them money ahead of time. I mean, do you understand how it is? So what you do is realize this, that in order for you to book 4 days in that room or that event, to book 4 days or 4 weeks in a row in that room, in terms of to be in that room, to make money. Yeah, I mean, you have to give money. I mean, you have to give money. So they may charge you $2,000, which is 2,000 times 4, because you're going to grab the room for 8 hours each week. I mean, that's $2,000 every single week. So that's $8,000 you have to give them up front. If you just choose to do it one time for 1 month, I mean, then you have to give $2,000. I mean, in a sense, so what's amazing is create the first event only. I mean, just make the first event, because if you go making 50,000 events before you even did the first time, I mean, then it's a loss of money, I promise you. Now, if you understand the first time, I mean, stick to the first time, and never again, understand this, I mean, never ever in your life book the room more than 1 time in that month for that space or location. I promise you, otherwise you lose money. I promise you, there's a loss of money in that. I promise you, why is that? Because the promotion of that gig in that town, of you being there every single week, is a regular type of individual. That's a regular type of individual. I promise you. Now, if you understand this, now you're learning something, because I understand that if you rock up in the same place and you're charging the doors at the same rate, I mean, do you understand? I mean, what's going to happen is, understand either way that you're profiting from that. I mean, you're profiting in a way that you're communicating, but the people are never going to show up there. I mean, why is that? I mean, because you have to understand that what's important is understand that it can be possible for you to lose the money. I mean, understand? I mean, if you go there for the first time, I mean, it's always going to be a profit. I mean, the first time it will be a profit. But if people see that you're coming there every single week, I mean, they'll say, you're regular. I mean, they'll say, nah. I mean, I already seen him the first time. I already seen him the first month. I already seen him just 2 weeks ago, man. I mean, he's going to say the same thing. I mean, they never ever cheerful about you anymore. I mean, they've been to your event. I mean, they've been to your event. I mean, they've seen what you said already. I mean, what you say here is you're going to say something different, of course. But it's always just speaking about the same thing in a different way. I mean, you understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, that's what it is. I mean, in a sense, so what you do is, for every single event around the world, I mean, just book 1 event there per year. I mean, in a sense, so if you do 1 event in Mounties or around Australia or somewhere around the world, and you do 1 event somewhere in that area, I mean, do 1 event in that area only every single year. Russian, that's it. Russian now, every single year. Russian, that's the best way. Russian, that's the best way. Russian now is in 1 decade. Russian, every single decade, you make 1. I mean, you make 1 event there every single decade. Russian, that's even better for you. Russian, that's even better. I mean, they say this man has been here 10 decades ago. I mean, this man came here 10 decades ago. I mean, of course, he's going to make money. I mean, in a sense, so either way, I mean, 10 decades, I mean, a decade ago, I mean, it's 10 years ago. I mean, he came here 10 years ago. I mean, of course, I have to go see him now, because he came here 10 years ago. I mean, if you come there every single week, I mean, now, I mean, they're never curious about you as much as, I mean, they're never curious about you anymore. I mean, you're there every single week. I mean, how does that look? I mean, how does it feel when you are going somewhere and you just come to 1 event every single week, or coming there every single 10 years? I mean, there's a big difference, isn't it? I mean, when you look at Tiesto, the DJ, in terms of Tiesto, I mean, he comes to Australia every 10 years. I mean, he comes to Australia every 10 years, man. I mean, of course, when he comes to Australia, I promise you he's going to book out the event. It's that simple, isn't it? Promise you, although, that if he comes to Australia every single day to DJ, promise you, now people are going to say, I mean, no matter how good he is, I mean, people are going to say, I have a family, man. I have something else to do than this guy, man. I mean, this guy's every single day over there. I mean, suddenly Tiesto, this massive star, has gone small in life. I mean, yes, then? I mean, why? I mean, imagine showing up in Australia every single day to perform in front of large audiences. I mean, there's no chance. I mean, there's no chance that you can be successful here. I mean, do you understand me? I mean, if he shows up every 10 years, first there's a big difference. First, every 10 years, first you'll pack out the event and 50,000 people watch him. I mean, 50,000 people every 10 years, I promise you, no problem. I mean, the business is successful. I mean, if he tries to do it every single day to make 50,000 people watch him, I promise you, people have families. I promise you, people have 9-to-5 jobs. I promise you, people have other events to go to now. Because, I mean, does it make sense that it's a losing business if you do it every single day in that area? I mean, a local business is a losing business if you do it every single day in that area. I promise you, never become a local business. I promise you, if Tiesto makes a local business today in Australia and comes every single day as a big superstar of music production, and he makes big festivals around the world, and then he comes to Australia to make big festivals every single day, people will say, get lost, man. I mean, why are they saying this? Because they're busy doing something else. I mean, they have something else to do. I mean, they've already been to his event. I mean, the first time, Tiesto on the first day. I mean, let's say he was never here for 10 years, but he came here, and this goes for us as well. But you must understand that it's just an example. I mean, Tiesto comes here on the first day in Australia, and he books out the event, and it's a sellout of 50,000 people are watching him. But then he has day 2 as well. Day 2, you can get away with it. I mean, he can be a 3-day festival here. He will get away with it. I mean, you can make a 3-day festival and book out 150,000 people can watch you. I mean, very quickly, you make really quick money making 3-day events around yourself in a big festival. I mean, you can do it. But then, if you say that it's a 50-day festival around you, I mean, what's going on now? I mean, if you can really do this in the planet, where you can make a 50-day festival around you, and it can be something legit, for sure you can make money. I mean, you can make money. I realize if it's consecutive days of festivals around you in Australia or around the world, for sure you can make money if you can do it. For sure. But although that is the deal. I mean, go and do it. I mean, make 365 days of festivals in some country in a row and say it's a 365-day event. I mean, you can do it. I mean, in that location, now you have to give the money up front. I mean, you have to give the money up front, but then guess what? I mean, either way, I mean, since it's such a big event, since it's such a big event, I mean, people are going to be curious about this. And you're going to make the trends. I mean, you're going to make big trends in that country. That you're doing this massive event for this long. I mean, people are going to want to come and watch you. I promise you. But if you just a regular, if you're just a regular around here, and Tiesto comes here and he says, hey, I be here every single day making this. I mean, just imagine him making events every single day here and nowhere else. I mean, people are going to just go somewhere else. I mean, isn't it? I mean, if you're just making events every single day in Australia or just one part of town or just one city, now people are just going to go somewhere else. I mean, you're getting boring from this point on. I mean, in a sense, so never be boring and make sure you're making events around the world because that's how you keep the excitement going. around you. But if you're making events every single day in the same town, or you're making events in the same city, or in the same nightclub, or in the same country town, or same city, or same area, Roshi, people start getting bored of you. Roshi, they start becoming boring of you. Roshi, because you're always there. I mean, understand? But even though you're growing, Roshi, you may be growing, but still, Roshi, you can see it. Roshi, now give that event a go and give it 1 month and do 1 month there in a way that you're giving one event as fast as possible and just focus on one event around the world. And now focus on booking your events anywhere for whatever time and just go there the first time, but give it 1 month. Just give it 1 month. If you give it 1 month, you're going to get results. But if you give it 1 week, you're going to get results too. But realize either way that if you have 1 month of promotion ahead of time in front of you, it's much better. It's much better to have 1 month ahead of time promotion that you're going to get to the event, or 1 year is even better. 1 year promotion before the event is even better. Now, if you understand 10 years promotion before it even happens is even better. If you can go book all these events around the world, and all you have to do is just show up to the events. Book the events and then you just show up on the day. If you understand how to make money now, now money is made like this. Now, the Spain and Argentina and all these worlds apart and all together as well. So, imagine how many countries you can call out today and just book an event right now over there. It's so easy, isn't it? I realize, although you have to give the money up front. You understand? So that's the thing. You have to be able to get there. You have to give the money up front. It's so simple. So many people have this money blockage. Many people are unable to do this because of the money in their pocket. It's so easy to call Spain up and say, hey, book me on, it's 2000, let's just say the year is 2021, but book me in your event at 2023 on this day. 2023. That's 3 years away. That's 2 years away. So either way, you can book 10 years ahead of time. You can book these events 10 years ahead of time. Focus on first booking out the first year. Book out 2021 to 2022 since it's 2021. So you have 1 year of space of time. Start booking events as fast as possible everywhere around the world where there's no other DJs. Find yourself around the world without other DJs with you. Because if other DJs are with you, what happens here is you have to split the money. You have to split the money with them. In a sense, so find yourself alone touring is much better than being around other people. So when you see, for example, Timmy Trumpet and Sunset Brothers at one place, and you want to book there as well, guess what? You can book and be on the day with them. You can book, you can give money on the day and say, I want to be with Sunset Brothers and Timmy Trumpet, and I want to feature in that event. You can be featuring with them. Let's just say they're popular around Australia, but let's say DJs or people or life coaches or public speakers or singers around the world are booking in these events. You can call those people or those events and say, hey, I'll give you some money as well, and I'll give the venue money so that I can also be at the event. I give the money to the event, and either way, you must understand that if you go around the world traveling around events and people and music producers and anybody, call them up and say, I want to feature in this event as well as those people because they are famous. So either way, you never have to say that, but you just say, I want to feature in that event with them. Either way, you may lose money. You may lose money, but at least you're going to feature in that event with them. You're going to be in the showcase of those artists for that profile or that event. Understand? Because you're calling them up. If you see festivals, today, you can feature in those festivals if you just call those festivals up. You call them up and give them money to be somebody in that festival, and that's it. Never wait for people to call you. Do you understand? Actually, it's that simple. Now, if you understand how people go around the world making festivals, and now you must understand that they go calling up these festivals. So what do? Go on Facebook right now and start searching up these events. I mean, search up the events now, and there's events up online right now on Facebook. And Timmy Trumpet and Steve Aoki and all these people are going around the world. I mean, look at where they're going and call up the nightclub. Call up the nightclub and say, I want to book up the event on Steve Aoki day. I want to be with Stevie Aoki on the day. That's it. So what's going to happen is you're going to give a certain amount of money to get there. You're going to give them money. And then what's going to happen is Steve Aoki may be the headliner, but depending on how much money you give, you can be the headliner or you can let him be the headliner, but you're going to feature in that event with Steve Aoki. But you're going to call up Spain, or you're going to call up America, or wherever he is on that day. And you're going to say, I want to come here on this day and do it with him. And that's it. You're going to be business partners on the day. I love that. That's it. And both of you are going to make money on the day. Bro, it's that simple. So if you understand now that, for example, Sunset Brothers, and there is also other people who are calling up these events. But let's say, for example, there is an event coming up, which is a festival or something. Roshi, what happens is before the event, they can definitely add you into the event. They can add you into the event. So what's going to happen is they're going to say featuring another DJ. Really quickly, they're making updates about you on Facebook. So they change the cover of the photo and they add something new into it. Roshi, that's simple. So, for example, I was looking at Sunset Brothers and Timmy Trumpet and going to Sunshine Coast or something like that. But if I want to go there, I just call up Sunshine Coast and I feature in the event as well. And now it's going to say featuring Danny Milivojevic. Roshi, it's that simple. I gave the money. But I'm with them on the day and that's it. I'm featuring. I love it. In a sense, so either way, you must understand that's what you do. Roshi, now, if you understand that, Roshi, now, how much money? I don't know. Roshi, although that's a sold out event. Roshi, now, if you give money, or else you may lose money on the day. You may lose money, but at least you're going to feature with people that are famous. In a sense, so either way, or else now, since you understand that, make sure you understand that now, it's just that money blockage that people have. Or else people have a money blockage. But most people are able to afford it, or else anybody can afford it. If you understand how to do music production first, go do some music production, and then you can have a chance to do that. But first understand that music production alone is never going to make you the best lifestyle. Straight up. You must understand that music alone, in terms of life, is never going to make you the best lifestyle. Understand, but Jesus Christ will. For sure, Jesus Christ helps you. But understand you are the one who are making your life succeed. You're the one making your life succeed, but be a life coach in the process. And be a singer and an actor as well. And be as much as you can be. But never just be a music producer. Russian music production goes away very quickly. Russian music production goes away after you're 80 years of age. Russian goes away. And you never ever want to be going around nightclubs at 80 years of age. You're going to still produce music at 80 years of age. You're still going to produce music all your life. But what's going to happen is that's going to fade away as well. Music production will fade away from your life. And what's going to happen is eventually the words that you speak is just going to be with you. In a sense, what you need to realize is life coaching is far more important than music production. I promise you. So these videos that I'm talking about is much more important than anything else. So for myself to make events around life coaching, I promise you now, I'm talent. Life coaching around Australia and the world, around my ability, I promise you everybody's coming to watch me. I promise you everybody's coming to watch me because I have certain techniques and skills that I can go and speak in front of people and I can make money so easily. I can make money so easily with my life coaching skills alone. But what's amazing is if you're a life coach and a music producer and a singer or whatever, make sure you understand that you go and cultivate your life coaching ability first, and then go and understand that you can travel the world and make money on your life coaching while also making money on your music production and whatever you're doing. Understand? But that's the way you do it. Understand? So make sure either way that what's important is make sure that if you want to feature on these big events around the world in music production or festivals, then you have to call the festivals and you have to call the organizers and you have to give them money. They're never going to go and pick you other than if you're so good and if you're so popular, and you want to do it for free, I mean, be my guest, man. I mean, if you're so popular, and you're Lil Wayne, or you're Michael Jackson, or you're Whitney Houston, or you're somebody popular and famous, and you call up the event and you say this is your name, and prove it, or whatever, and give them some money if they want it. I mean, either way, if you prove it and they see it's really you and you're famous, I mean, they'll say just jump in for free. I mean, just jump in the festival for free. I mean, I promise you, because you're famous already. I mean, you're going to bring in crowds, but you're never making money on the day. I mean, it's just free attention. I'm pretty sure if you want free attention, you can do it. I mean, if you're famous. I mean, they never just grab anybody to come to those festivals. I mean, you have to be popular. So the free attention you do get does add up. I realize it does add up. But make sure you understand that you go and do as much events with people as you can, but go solo as much as you can. I mean, go solo. I mean, never follow other people and where they're going. I mean, trust me, because what's going to happen is you're going to meet them on the day, and they're going to play the set and they're going to go. I mean, you're going to play your set, but they're never even watching you, man. I mean, you're playing your music. You're playing your music on the event, but they're never watching you. I mean, they may watch you for a bit. I mean, they may watch you, but some people have to go somewhere as well. I mean, in a sense, so what's important is realize that if you want to do something much more, is realize that whatever's happening around the world is through the events of Facebook now. And Facebook has events going on right now. So you have to tune into those events. You have to be following those events right now, and you have to be following where the artists are going around the world in terms of music producers and life coaches, and all these people are creating events on Facebook. So follow them and see where they're going, and then book an event with them or go somewhere else, or find at least where are they booking their events. So just the other day, I went online and I was checking these Facebook events around Steve Aoki and Sunset Brothers and Timmy Trumpet. And now they're going around the world, but they're going to all these nightclubs. So I wrote down the nightclubs that they're going to. I wrote down over 60 nightclubs and 70 nightclubs around the world that I can go visit right now. I can go visit them right now. I can give them a call. I mean, I'm already booking it there as well. I want to be a solo DJ. I want to go alone. But it's different because guess what? I mean, everybody has their own music. I mean, everybody has their own different music. But if you make great music, I mean, just go with your music, because your music is more enough then. I mean, you understand? So what's important is understand, if I go solo DJ around the world on my own, I mean, where's the woman in my life? I mean, where's the kids in my life now? I mean, guess what? I mean, I'm on the road alone. I mean, I have to pick up a woman on the go. I mean, I have to get a woman with me on the go. But what's amazing is I want to be financially secure before she comes with me. I mean, I want to be somewhere right at the top of my legacy, in a way that I'm at the top of my legacy now, but I'm making sure I want to be better than this before I have a wife and kids, for example. I mean, I want to be so much better than this, because understand that what's important is making sure that I make a greater career for myself, because a wife and kids is they're never going to make my career for me. Actually, nobody's going to make your career for you. I'm doing it for the word I only. I mean, so I'm doing it for I. I mean, you have to do it for I as well. I mean, you have to go and make your career for I. I mean, so make sure you understand that when I really understand something, I make sure every single day you understand that now, since you can go and book events around the world, and you can follow DJs and you can follow everybody around the world, and you can understand that people around the world are making these massive events around themselves every single day. I mean, go and focus on something that you love to do every single day, and focus on planning your life ahead of the game. I mean, be ahead of the game in what everybody's doing on the line. I mean, make sure you understand that if people are going around public speaking around areas, I mean, make sure you understand that you can join them if you want. I mean, just call them up. So if you see Grant Cardone and Gary Vaynerchuk doing events with Elena Cardone around the world somewhere with Ty Lopez, and they're all together, and they're going from New Zealand to this place, to this place, to this place to public speak, and they're together, I mean, call them up and say, I'll give you money as well. I can join the event with you guys, and I'll just follow you guys, and I'll do it with you. I mean, you can do that. I mean, you give them money, and you just go touring with them. I mean, that's what they're doing, because that's their own funding events. I mean, they're funding their own events. I mean, do you guys understand? So anybody who's a public speaker, who's going around the world, traveling, public speaking with people who are famous, and they're together as a group making events, around the world, unfortunately, it's because they're funding those events together. I mean, they're funding it. I mean, they're making the events and they're saying, we're going this place, and we're going this place, and we're going this place, and that's it. I mean, they're never stopping for you, and they're never going to wait for you in life. So what you do is realize this, that when you have money and you're popular, you say, hey, I want to join your events. But what you do is go and understand that once you become famous and you become more popular, I mean, go see them where they are and say, hey, here's my number. I mean, here's $10,000 and give me your number. I mean, give me a number. I want to call you. I want to give you more money to come public speaking with you somewhere. I want to public speak with you. So Les Brown, for example, he has a package, for example, of $50,000 you can give him. But if he goes public speaking somewhere around the world, I mean, he's going to bring you alongside with him. And he's just going to tell you, come here. But you have to give your own money to get there. And that's it. That's what he is. That's how he is. I mean, in a sense, no matter what, I mean, you must understand that what's important is you have to be funding your events. I mean, you have to be giving money to go around the world. I mean, what else can I tell you? I mean, you must understand that there's always much more to tell you and to give you. But every single day, I'm telling you in a way that I'm showing you what to do. I'm never bossing you around. I'm making sure that you understand. I'm giving you the information. I'm making sure every single day that it's much more about a nicer attitude today than ever before. So make sure you understand that you charge your phone if you see a 15% margin or 15% battery if you see a 15% battery on your phones or technology, to pause the video and charge your phones. I can, however, say that it's very amazing to be able to learn and grow, guys. So making sure you understand that this is my first time I've been playing this video in my life. So what I need to do every single day is focus on making sure I'm doing much more to give money. So when I'm giving money, I'm making sure that there's no blockages in giving money. So I want to be making sure that if you understand how to plan money, is go and see what can you afford today and how much can you afford. I love it. I mean, what you can afford is the money you have in your pocket right now. I mean, in a sense, so what you must do with your money is only live within that mean. I mean, only live with only ever live within your means. I mean, never ever go above and beyond with that money. Otherwise, I mean, go above and beyond with that money, but never ever go above your means. I mean, if you have $800 every fortnight, I mean, you live within $800 every fortnight. But never ever seek to get 10% of that money to give to charities. I mean, that's all bullshit. I mean, never ever give your money to charities if you have less than $100,000 in your pocket. I mean, never give your money to charities. I mean, give your money in terms of your words. I'm very professional now. Give your words. I mean, your words is something that you give to charities. And that's it. I mean, give your word I. But seek to understand that now, since I'm telling you now in a way that I'm showing you, I never give my money to charities. I give them my words. I give you these life coaching videos, and this is your charities. So my way of avoiding to give people $2, I give them my business card. I mean, my way of avoiding to give them $50,000 or whatever they ask for in money. I mean, whatever you ask for in money, I'll just give you my business card, man. I mean, and then guess what happens? I say, I give you far more than what you ask for in my business card. And then guess what they do? I mean, they never even want my business card in the first place, but they just go somewhere else. I'm never cheap to give $2. I can give $2. I can give all the money in the world, but I give it in my business card. I love it. So when a homeless individual comes up to me, or if they come up to me, or else if a homeless individual comes up to me, or whatever, what is important for me is I give them my business card. I give them my business card, and what happens is they never want my business card. I mean, they want $2 over my business card. So either way, I never give them $2 because I gave my business card. I mean, what you have to understand that if somebody asks you to give you, if somebody's asking for charity from you, and somebody's asking you for money, give them your business card. What's important here is that they're asking you to give something from yourself. It never matters how much you give. It never matters how much you give, or else it matters that you give something. You understand that? So what I do is I realize that, because in the Bible, it says with Jesus Christ that the mother, in terms of the grandmother, who gave her last penny, but other people gave millions of dollars. Brother Jesus Christ says that it's equal giving. I mean, it's equal giving. I mean, even though she gave her last penny, I mean, she gave her last dollar. I mean, everything she had. I mean, she gave everything she had. I mean, she still gave something. I mean, you understand? I mean, those people who gave $1 million to the taxpayers back then, in Jesus Christ times, I mean, they just gave something as well. But this woman, who is 1 penny, gave. I mean, she gave 1 penny. I mean, she gave the equal amount of giving. I mean, you understand? So, if you give $1 million to somebody, and I give him $1 as well, I mean, we're equal in giving. I mean, there's no bullshit. I mean, you understand? I mean, who gave more? I mean, guess what? I mean, we gave equally. I mean, you never gave more than me. I mean, you never gave more than me. I gave equally with you. I mean, do you understand? Roshi, just because you gave $1 million more than me, Roshi, you have to understand that we gave equally. I mean, equal giving is what we're looking for. I mean, God never loves you more because you gave God $1 million than another individual. I mean, God loves you equally with other people, regardless. I mean, God loves you equally with everybody. I mean, you can give God 100,000%. I mean, and some grandma can give God 1%. I mean, God's going to love the grandmother just like you. I mean, I mean, equal love. And that's it. I mean, I mean, there's no, God's never going to favor you over the grandmother. I mean, I mean, it's equal. So what you have to realize is when people ask you for charity, or homeless people ask you to give some money, or somebody is asking for charity from you, or to give $1, or to give something for nothing. I mean, guess what? I mean, give your business card. I mean, just give something. I mean, other people may give $5 or $10, or else they may give $10 or $50. I'll give my business card because I give all this information for free. I keep the flow going. I want to be able to understand that if somebody's asking for me to give something, I give my business card. I mean, that's all I can give you. I mean, that's everything. I gave you my life. I gave you everything about me in my business card. I mean, I expose myself completely in my business card online. I mean, you can see my little photos from when I was a little kid. I mean, I'm still a baby, but since I was 5 years of age and 2 years of age or 1 year of age, I mean, you can go see the photos once I give you my business card. I mean, in a sense, so guess what? I mean, I gave you my life, and that's it. I gave you more than $2 that you're asking for. I mean, I'll give you more than the money you're asking for because I'm giving you my life in my business card. So either way, have a business card to give people. So some people who are so poor have nothing to give. I mean, somebody may go ask somebody to give something and they say no because they have nothing to give. I mean, they have no business card, or else they have no money either. I mean, they have no clothing to give either. I mean, they have no words of encouragement to give either. I mean, in a sense, they're so poor. I have words of encouragement. I have money in the business card. I have everything in the words. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand to unblock yourself and get a business card and give something at least. I mean, in a sense, so what's important is understand to have your face on your business card so that you can be unique, because there are many of your names going around. So what's your full name? I mean, your full name today has many full names just like that. So put your face on the business card so you be unique, just like I realize that what's important is move on from the conversation and making sure every single day that we're focusing on bigger events. But I understand, for example, that if you're going around events and you're booking events around festivals today and you're unpopular and you're never popular, I mean, what happens is it's a loss of money. I mean, it's a loss of profit that if you go to a place, today and you're unpopular, I promise you people never come watch you. So watch the times as well. I mean, if you see the time is coronavirus pandemic today, I mean, if you make a big festival, I mean, guess what they're going to do? I mean, they're going to cancel your festival. So make sure you understand that if you want to have the best time to make music or go around the world, to make events around the world, to make money, I mean, focus solely on understanding that what happens during a crisis and coronavirus pandemic is understanding that eventually there's going to be another one coming as well. I mean, there's going to be another coronavirus pandemic in my lifetime, I promise you. Now, because I understand that either way, I'm expecting it. I'm expecting for another coronavirus to come out. I promise you now, I expect that to happen, because if I never expect that and it happens, Rosh, that means I did disappoint myself then. Rosh, now, you must understand, either way, that what happens during coronavirus pandemic is world events stop. I mean, all these events are stopping. I mean, there's no more music events. I mean, there's no more nightclubs. I mean, there's no more public speakers going around. I mean, what's happening around the world is it becomes chaos in a way that people have to live within their means and they have to live within the money range they have. But the 9 to 5 jobs are open. I mean, 9 to 5 jobs are closing as well. I mean, many 9 to 5 jobs are out of work during the coronavirus pandemic as well. I mean, what you must understand, that every single day is the money that you have. I mean, hold it completely. And then what you do is try to throw it into real estate. I mean, try to throw your money into real estate somewhere. So have a real estate coming in and have some cash flow coming in while the coronavirus is happening. So Grant Cardone has over 8,000 units. And guess what? I mean, he's losing money on 20% of them. I mean, he's losing money on 20% of real estate. But 80% of his real estate, approximately 80% of his real estate, approximately now 80% of his real estate is making money during the coronavirus pandemic. I mean, even though he's losing 20%, I mean, he's making 80%. I mean, that's why he says to always get more real estate anyway. I mean, get more real estate so you can have more percentages coming in. I mean, understand? So, Grant Cardone says that if he had, let's say, 12 real estates, I mean, maybe 6 of them are never going to get cash flow, but 5 of them will. I mean, if he relies on just one real estate, Russian now, that tenant can leave. Russian, those people in the actual real estate game can leave. Russian, they can go somewhere else. And then guess what you do? I mean, guess what happens? I mean, 5 months without renters or people who are renting your apartment. I mean, 5 months without people renting your apartment. I mean, that's a loss of cash flow. Let's say you have real estate, but for 5 months you're looking for somebody to just rent out your real estate. I mean, that did happen to Grant Cardone. I mean, in a sense, so never rely on just one real estate alone, is what Grant Cardone is saying. I mean, in a sense, because people travel differently. I mean, people go elsewhere. I mean, now, people in real estate are going where the people are going. I mean, in a sense, if you understand that, actually it's the best way to understand either way, that what's important is that you cash flow. Now, if you understand that what's important is anywhere where the people are going, or else you must go where people are in life. But then you must also go and understand that where the people are is where the cash flow is. Now, if you go where there are less people, but there are still people there. I mean, there are still people there. And there are still people who are going to rent that beautiful real estate around. And you get better prices here. I mean, what do I mean? I mean, let's say there's a city of Sydney, but then 20 kilometers south is a town. But let's say it's a town, but there's real estate that is much more, let's say, affordable to get. But there's still a town there, and there's still people who want to rent. But what's the point of you going to the city to give $1 million for one unit when you can get a nice, beautiful real estate deal 30 kilometers south of Sydney, or let's say 500 kilometers up the coast of Brisbane, where you can find real estate where it's $200,000 per unit? I mean, you just made $800,000 in one deal. I mean, how, Danny? I mean, how did you make $800,000? I mean, in Sydney, it's $1 million per unit. I mean, in Gold Coast, it's $200,000 per unit. I mean, go where $200,000 per unit is. I mean, what's a unit? I mean, a unit is a room. I mean, why give $1 million for one room when you can get it for $200,000? I mean, although you're never doing it for $200,000, I mean, you can gain a room to give $200,000 to gain one room, but you gain the money back. You gain the money back really quickly in 20 years' time, or as in 20 years' time, you can gain that money back. But over here, it can take you 1 century or 100 years to get your money back. I mean, so what's happening is closer to the city is becoming more of a renting service or real estate range. So real estate is becoming more rent in terms of people are renting much more in the CBD of Brisbane and CBDs of the world, where it's large cities, it's much more popular to rent these days. But further, where let's say it's away from the cities, I realize the further away from the cities it is, the more it's about mortgage rates. Mortgages. People getting mortgages away from the city. In a sense, so maybe 3 hours down away from Sydney. 3 hours away from Sydney is where people get mortgages. There's small towns. There's small towns, but there's all these real estates, and that's where they get mortgage rates. In a sense, so when they get mortgage rates, they file themselves for harassment and divorce and they file themselves for a shit life as well. They never have a great lives. Anybody who has a mortgage rate never has a great life. And why is that? Because the bank always wants their money that they are getting from the bank. In a sense, so the bank says, hey, you can have a $500,000 house if you give us $50,000 up front. And then what they say, or else they say, you can give us the money over time for that house. Now you're slaves to the government. Now you're slaves to the bank, because you're going to give another $450,000 over your lifetime to just keep one little house. You understand? Or else you're going to live in one house, I'm going to live in 50,000 houses around the world. I'm going to live in more countries than you, because you're going to a 9 to 5 to work and to give $450,000 to the government, while I'm making $450,000 in each country. I'm making $450,000 a day in each country, while you're working a 9 to 5 for $25 an hour to give back $450,000. In a sense, so make sure you be smarter than that. Be smarter, and make sure either way that what's important is understand that the further away from the city it is in terms of real estate, the better deals you get in real estate. Go to places and search for places where it's further from the city in terms of real estate to find the real estate that you need. Although to get to the real estate, you need to do your search. You have to do your homework. You have to do your due diligence. You have to do your due diligence. What is due diligence? You have to do the research. You have to do the homework. You have to be making sure they understand that it's $100,000 per bedroom today, and that's the deal. You understand? So in 10 years' time, you make the money back. That's the 1% rule, as Grant Cardone says. And now, either way, you must understand that's the real estate rule. But then make sure you understand that throughout the coronavirus pandemic and what's going on around the world is suddenly the businesses around the world stop in terms of the international businesses, but business is going on as usual for everybody. But what happens is some people never have a business and some people do. I realize although that most people never really have a true business going on, but 1% of the people do. And then what are the 1% of the people doing in the planet? 1% of the people are having great legacies while they're doing the business, while 99% of the people are working for somebody else. Whereas if you work for somebody else, it's because you never want your career or legacy to be great. I'm 1% of the people who wants my legacy to be massive. And that's my business. You understand? So that's why I make music. So I can go around the world having a great legacy in music. You understand? Because that's the only way to have a great legacy in music is to make music, and that's it. You understand? But I have 73 years and more to do music production, and it's really simple. But what you need to understand that life is long. There's so much time to make kids and to have kids and to have a wife and to have whatever you want. Understand? There's so much time. But realize this, that during a coronavirus pandemic, approach now, they can have lockdowns in your area. Lockdowns in terms of coronavirus mask and you're wearing a coronavirus mask. And they make you work in a 9 to 5 job, or they also fire you and you have no money as well. It can happen. Although, make sure you always have more than yesterday, and making sure either way that you're never relying on the government for anything long term. Understand? I love that. What you want to be doing with the government in terms of the loans that they give you and the bank's loans is making sure that you're using their money to get away from the 9 to 5 job as much as possible. So what you can do with the banks today, especially, is making sure that you can use the bank's money to get away from the 9 to 5 job. Understand? So what you do is you get a loan and use that money to stay away from the 9-to-5 job for a few years. I mean, the sense of what you do every single day is use the money. Use the money of the government, and what you do is every single day focus on this. So let's say, for example, you make $50,000 a year. So what the bank's going to say is they're going to loan you a certain amount of money because you can work a certain amount of time in a 9-to-5 job. But let's say it's a trick, and you're going to trick the government here, and you're going to trick the government in terms of the banks, and you're going to say, hey, I make a certain amount of money from the banks, or I make a certain amount of money at my 9-to-5 job. So what happens is, let's say you make certain money, or less. Now I work 24/7, I always make more than what I do. But let's say you make $50,000 in your job, or $30,000. I mean, let's just say $30,000. I mean, you make $30,000, and what you want is a loan from the bank. But the loan from the bank, or else the bank can give you some type of loan for this, and they want to ask you, for what loan do you want from what you're doing? So you make yourself get the max loan from the bank. I mean, get the max loan from the bank. But that loan, or that government allowance that you have, or whatever, I mean, use it to make events around the world, or use the money from the banks to stay away from the 9-to-5 jobs as much as possible. But then you hold this money in your pocket, and you hold it for as long as possible. And what you do is you say this, I mean, eventually that money is going to run out. But what you do is make sure either way that what's important is you use that money to throw it into live events, and then you can go around the world. And now, if you can make a profit with that money, it's because you're going to invest that money into technology, or into a business, or into a phone, and you're going to get that money from the bank, which is a credit card loan, and you're going to get yourself the newest iPhone, and then you're going to put it into eBay. I mean, you're going to put the phone on eBay, and you're going to sell it for more. Ta-da! You're going to get a laptop with the money from the bank or from the loan, and then you're going to put on eBay, and you're going to sell it for more. I mean, you're going to get technology. I mean, you're going to get some phones. I mean, you're going to make a phone business on eBay, and you're going to dump whatever you make back into the business, and you're going to make more phones, and you're going to distribute more phones to people to get more money. I mean, you can do that. I mean, you can go on eBay, and you can also do PayPal. And what you do on PayPal is you can have a side hustle with your business, so you can have your own laser treatment, for example. And what happens with laser treatment is, I went to a laser treatment lady, and she has a laser treatment machine, and she gave $5,000, but now she has customers. And now, for every single customer, I mean, she makes $200 in 30 minutes. I mean, in a sense, so you understand? I mean, she makes a side hustle about this. I love it. I mean, she gave $5,000 to get the machinery, and then all she does is give business cards to people to get laser treatment, and she gives them double the duty. So when she does your nice and beautiful hairs, I mean, she goes over twice, or she does it over twice. I understand? Because most people in the laser treatment centers, they do it one time, but she does it twice for you. So she does it, she does it even better service. So either way, you must understand that what people are doing is they're getting technology, and they invest in technology to sell it for more. I mean, that's dropshipping. I love it. Obviously, if you understand that you can go and sell anything. I mean, you can grab, for example, let's say, I mean, you can grab some technology out there, or something that's in demand. I mean, grab something that's in demand, and then go online and sell it for more. I mean, you can do that. I mean, you can make that your business. But is it going to be something that's improving your legacy? Actually, that will never improve your legacy, but that's quick money. But you can use the bank's money to get the technology you need to make more money with the technology. I mean, that's a startup for the business. I mean, in a sense, so you can do that. Or else, either way, or else that the way I make money now is I communicate more and more and more on YouTube, and I make my legacy much greater. So it's more about legacy for me than the money. I mean, you must understand that. I go and do whatever it takes to get the bank's money, to stay away from the 9-to-5 jobs as much as I can, to make sure you understand I can do this now. I can go to the bank today. I get a $10,000 loan. I stay away from 9-to-5 jobs for 1 more year with that money. I stay away from 9-to-5 jobs for 1 year with that money. But in that 1 year, I make 365 hours of videos with that $10,000 loan that I did get from the bank. And I live with my family. I live with my biological dad. but I have no 9 to 5 job for another year. I mean, is it worth it? I mean, it's worth it, huh? Right now, I mean, why is it worth it? Because guess what? I'm going to go 1 year without a 9 to 5 job with 10,000 bucks. I mean, guess what I do from that point? I didn't go into a 9 to 5 job. I mean, I'd be giving the money to the bank really slowly. I give the bank money really slowly, back the money. But what I do now is, since I understand how to make events around the world, I get the money from a 9 to 5 job, I pour into events first, and who cares about the bank? I mean, let's just say I have $10,000 in debt with the bank, but I just made 1 year of my life. I have 1 year to live life without the bank. I get into a 9 to 5 job, and I say to the bank, I make $50,000 a year. I mean, the bank says, how much loan do you want? I say $20,000. I mean, they give me 20,000 bucks in loan, they believe that they want me as a slave to work for them. I mean, they want me to be a slave to work for that money to give back to them. But guess what? I get the money. I get 20,000 bucks. I get 2 years away from a 9 to 5 job. I'm leveraging money to get away from a 9 to 5 job. But the bank is going to give me 20,000 bucks. And they're going to say every 3 weeks that every fortnight I have to give them a certain amount of money back. Or every week I have to give them a certain amount of money back from that 20,000 bucks. I mean, they may say 35 bucks a week or 75 bucks a week or whatever it is. I mean, I have to give them back the money. But no worries, or else that money is going to tick down. So let's just say that with $20,000 that they give me, for example, I mean, let's just say for 20,000 bucks, I never do it for 20,000 bucks, but let's say 20,000 bucks divided by 75. I mean, hold on. I mean, $20,000 divided by 75. I mean, that's 266 weeks. I mean, 266 weeks to give that loan back. I mean, understand? So 266 weeks, I get away from a 9 to 5 job. I mean, understand? So either way, I realize that what I do is I understand that I have to live as well. But then from that money is I understand that no matter what, that within 1 year, I mean, I can live on $10 a day. I can live on $7,000 with that money. And now either way, I get over 2 years. I get over 2 years. I get over 2 years of being away from a 9 to 5 job with 20,000 bucks. So for every 10,000 bucks, I get away from a 9 to 5 job for 1 year. I mean, in a sense, so either way, I understand I can go to the bank today and I can get a loan from the bank to get away from a 9 to 5 job. And that's it. But what I do is, listen to me. I mean, I go literally and do this. I'll go 9 to 5 job, I get a job, for example. I love it. I get any job. And I say, hey, I make 40 grand per year. I make 40 grand, I make 50 grand, I make 60 grand at this job. I mean, they may say, show us some proof that you work a 9 to 5 job. I mean, I'll go to the job site, I say, give me some proof that I'm making this money over here. I want to borrow money from the bank. I mean, they're going to give you the proof. I mean, you go to the bank and get the money. They give you the money. Get the max that you can get from the bank. Get the max. Get the loan, and they'll give you the interest rate. And the interest rate is saying now you have to give them back that money for a certain period of time. Otherwise, if you never give that money to the bank, after this period of time, they're going to charge you an interest rate every other week from that point. So let's say the bank, after 20 years, says, hey, let's say you borrow money from the bank and you get $20,000, but to repay it in 20 years on this kind of interest rate. You understand? But if you never repay the money from that point on, or else from that point on in terms of 20 years, then that interest rate jumps into a higher interest rate from that point. So what happens is, from $20,000, they may charge you 3% interest rate for 20 years to repay the money. So what happens is you're going to give 3% more money for getting the money in the first place. So what you're going to understand is 3% of 100,000 is $3,000. So if you borrow $100,000 and you're giving $100,000 back after 20 years, I mean, you're going to give $3,000 more. I mean, you're going to give them $103,000. I mean, do you understand? But if you never give them after 20 years the money back, then that 3% rate is going to jump to 8% rate after that, every single year. So every single year from that point, you're giving the bank money. I mean, you're giving $8,000 every single year until you give back the money. I mean, do you guys understand that? I mean, the interest rate jumps up after a certain period. I mean, after a certain period of time, the interest rate from the banks, that if you never repay them, will jump up and up and up and up. So that 3% rate will go to 6% or 9% or 12% or 14% or 20% rate. And then guess what happens from that point? I mean, it just keeps on going up. I mean, do you understand? And then that's why people like Donald Trump and people who are, let's say, famous, or anybody who's in debt with the bank is in debt in trillions of dollars, in debt and billions of dollars, because that interest rate is just jumping up, man. I mean, do you understand? So make sure you understand either way. What's important is understand that if you borrow money from the bank, I mean, give it back as fast as possible. I mean, do you understand that? I mean, that's the key. I mean, the key. But if you understand what's even smarter than that, I mean, what's even smarter than that is ask yourself this. The best way is giving the money back as fast as possible. But either way, you need to use that money. I mean, use the bank's money. Or else I can go to the bank today, I get the loan from the bank because I have a 9-to-5 job, for example. I mean, in a sense, so go and get yourself a 9-to-5 job because I have a 24/7 job. Or else I have no 9-to-5 job, I have a 24/7 job. But if you get yourself a 9-to-5 job, I mean, what you can do is get yourself any job and then go and get yourself the bank loan. I mean, get yourself the bank loan and then stay away from the 9-to-5 job for as long as you can with that money. And then go and make events around the world when you can, is what I'm saying. So what I can do is I can get any job right now that gives me any kind of salary, and I can trick the government and the bank. I can trick the bank. I can trick the bank and the government to give me money and a loan because I have a 9-to-5 job. I mean, do you guys understand that? I mean, then I use the money to stay away from the 9-to-5 job for as long as possible. I make the money run out completely. I mean, who cares? I may be 50 grand in debt from the bank's money and whatever, which is I mean, I may borrow 50,000 from the bank, but I'm going to make that freaking money. I'm going to make that money completely go to waste. I mean, understand? I mean, how am I making the money though? I mean, that 50 grand may last me for 4 years. I'm going to just live on that. I'm going to live on the bank's money for 50 years, but I'm going to stay away from the 9-to-5 job for 4 years because I have the bank's money now. I mean, the bank's going to give me 50,000 bucks, but I'll get away from the 9-to-5 job for 4 years. I'll get away from the 9-to-5 job for 4 years at least. I mean, but how about the kids, Daddy? I mean, but how about marriage? I mean, but how about the car or the Ferrari? I mean, how about the holidays? I mean, how about the wife, man? I mean, how about the sex with the brothels? I forget all that. I never need that shit. Or else what I need is to get myself away from 9-to-5, man. I get into the 9-to-5 to just go to the bank to tell them, hey, I mean, give me a loan now. I have a nice beautiful car, man. I mean, whatever. I have a nice beautiful job over here, man. I mean, give me some money. I mean, give me as much as you can. I mean, they'll give you straight away. I mean, they'll give it to you. But what you do is run away from the 9-to-5 job as well. I mean, the 9-to-5 job is just a lay-by or just a byproduct for you to get the money from the bank. Because the bank is never going to loan you the money if you have no 9-to-5 job. So just say you have a 9-to-5 job and prove it to them. But get yourself into a 9-to-5 just to get the money from the bank. I love that. Now, as soon as you get the money from the bank, get away from the 9-to-5 job and say, adios amigo, I've got something else to do. I mean, at least you have the bank's money now. I mean, you have the bank's money. I mean, is that clear? I mean, you can do that. I mean, get the money because that's like a credit card. I mean, and now extra, get a credit card on top. I mean, get another credit card on top of that. And now what do you do with the credit card? I mean, make sure you understand either way that we're going to withdraw and we're going to use it as much as possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in depth this time. We are going to leverage debt here to make ourselves rich. I mean, how funny is this? I mean, we're going to get ourselves into $100,000 in debt to make ourselves $1 million. I mean, in a sense, so what we're going to do is we're going to withdraw from the credit card and from the bank, let's say whatever amount. But what we're going to do with that money is we're going to stay away from the 9-to-5 job. And we're going to build our career and legacy in the meantime for another 4 years. But at least we have no 9-to-5 job. I mean, at least we have no 9-to-5 job. I mean, we're away from 9-to-5 job and we're going to go busking performances. I mean, we're going to go in front of people and do free events around people in the busking events, and we're going to do YouTube videos. I mean, we're going to live free. I mean, we're going to have food and drink. I mean, we're going to have a blast. I mean, we're going to wake up every single day without a 9-to-5 job, but at least we're going to have some money in our pocket. I mean, we're going to have some money in our pocket, and there's no pressure anymore. I mean, there's no pressure to work on a 9-to-5 job. I mean, there's no more working for other people, and now it's happiness, because now we can focus on our legacy. I mean, let's just focus on that. I mean, from now on, I mean, either way, you can do that. So go and get yourself that, and we're getting ourselves in debt to make ourselves richer. So what we do from this point is we have money, or else we have money now. But let's say over time, or else the money's getting low. I mean, the money's starting to get low here. And now you get to a certain point and you say, I understand, but at least I made it worth it. I made from this money that I did loan from the bank and I did get from the credit card, I made 600 hours of videos on YouTube. I mean, if I was working a 9-to-5 job, I never would have been able to do that. I mean, do you understand? I mean, at least you made 600 hours of videos. I mean, and 300 hours of those videos has been busking performances in front of people. I mean, and now, guess what? I mean, either way, I mean, now you're much confident in front of people to public speak and to do your passions, and you're much better at music production and all your passions, because you never were going to a 9-to-5 job. I mean, you were putting your passions and your effort into your passions and your legacy, and you're building your legacy and you're building your business and portfolio without the 9-to-5 job. I mean, do you guys understand? I mean, for however long this is. I mean, either way, or else what's important is now we have this kind of debt with us, or else we have the debt, but get yourself into debt as much as possible. I mean, get yourself into debt now as much as possible. Because if you want to make money, you have to go into debt. I promise you it's risky, but it's the best. I promise you it's the best way to make money. I mean, get yourself into debt really fast. Rush now. Guess what? I mean, you can never play it safe. I mean, guess what? I mean, either way, or else now, I play it safe. I play it safe, but I play it in a way that I can win. Play it safe. Play it safe, but I'm playing it safe now. I mean, being in debt is safe for you. I mean, now, either way, I have a certain amount of time. I mean, yeah, I realize now, since I have a certain amount of time away from a 9-to-5 job, I'm using other people's money, I'm using the bank's money. I never have to go to a 9-to-5 job. I can focus on doing my legacy, I can focus on doing my music production, but I'm using the bank's money, and I understand the money now is running out. I understand that money is running out. I understand it's running out. I understand there's 2 months to go, and that money's gone, man. I mean, that money's gone that I did borrow from the bank. I understand now that I have to return to them 50 grand, for example. I have to return the bank 50 grand. I have to return them 100 grand. I have to return them I have to return them $1 million. In the sense of what do? I make live events. I make live events anyway. So what I do is I get another 9-to-5 job now. I now start to work really. I start to work the 9-to-5 job, and I give the bank money minimally. I give them the minimal amount that they're asking for, and that's all gone. I mean, that's all done. But then I get the money that I work for. I get so much more money than I'm giving the bank anyway. So what I do is I get the money from the 9-to-5 job, and I look for events now. I start to look for events as fast as possible, and I give the money to events, and I make more money from the event now, and I drive it back into the bank. I mean, then I go to the 9-to-5 job again, I make another amount of money, I make another event somewhere else, I make a profit, and I drive it back into the bank as fast as possible. I mean, do you understand? I mean, that's how you make money. I mean, do you see what I've done? I went to the bank, because I went to get the 9 to 5 job. I went to the 9 to 5 job to get the 9 to 5 job, just to go to the bank to get the loan, to get away from the 9 to 5 job for a certain period of time, to waste up all the money as I can, to keep it and to hold it for as long as I can, and to hold this money for as long as I can, and to live on the minimal amount of this amount, while giving that money back to the bank that they're asking for. So the bank may ask for $30 a week, but from the 20 grand that they gave me, I'll give them $30 a week with that money. But it holds me away from a 9 to 5 job as well. So either way, I make sure to just, from that time, for 2 years, just to develop myself online, and just to make more videos and more educational content, and go in front of crowds now as a public speaker in front of crowds, or go to Toastmasters, or go develop my mindset, or go just wake up with no pressure. I mean, just wake up with no 9 to 5 job in my life and just start reading something now. I mean, start developing my laptop, or start developing my graphics, or whatever I'm doing in terms of my passions. And I start developing and developing and developing for 2 years without the 9 to 5 job. I have 600 hours of videos now online, much better. I have much better videos online. I have 600 hours of videos online, brother and sister. I mean, without the 9 to 5 job, because I did go to the bank to grab the loan at least. I did grab the loan from the bank. I did grab the credit cards. I'm using credit cards. I'm using all this. Because either way, I mean, yes, they're going to chase me. I mean, who cares about them? I mean, what's going to happen is that money is going to go to waste, I promise you. That money that you do borrow from the banks is going to go to the waste. I promise you, it's going to go into a recycle bin. But what's going to happen is you reinvest that money into yourself. Or else what I mean is that money is going to go into food and drink, or clothing for you, or whatever. But make sure you understand that we're going to live minimally with that money, and we're going to use that money to make sure that we're never wasting it. I mean, we're never going to waste that money, but we're going to use it for as long. I mean, we're going to use this money for as long as possible to just make sure that we're going to stay away from 9 to 5 job. I mean, you understand? But we're going to keep giving the money to the bank either way. So by the time the bank wants that money, or by the time you run out of the money, I mean, the bank already has $4,000 from that money that they gave you. And now, either way, I mean, let's say you did get $20,000 from the bank. I mean, by the time that money runs out for you, I mean, you already gave them $4,000 back anyway. So you just have $16,000 in debt now. I mean, understand, but you were away from the 9 to 5 job for 2 years anyway. I mean, so you just have to give $16,000 back because you're giving them money back from that money. I mean, understand, but you're using that money just to get away from the 9 to 5 job, so that you can go online and make a YouTube account, and so you can make an Instagram account, and so that you can go and do some so you can do some live busking performances in front of people to boost up your confidence about your passion, so we can make live events around the world. I mean, as soon as you can make live events around the world, I mean, you're free. I mean, do you understand that? I mean, the point at time where you can make a live event in front of people is when you're free. I mean, you're free to live life. I mean, you're free to get into debt now. I mean, as soon as you can make live events around the world is when you can get into debt. And you can always make the money back. I promise you. I promise you can make the money back once you understand how to make live events. That's it. I promise you, if you have no courage to make live events, then never get a loan. I mean, never go into debt. If you can never, I promise you, if you understand, if you understand that you can never do something, I mean, make sure you can do it. I mean, make sure you can make live events. I mean, as soon as you can make live events is the moment you can get yourself into more debt with the bank and with the government. I mean, do you understand that? I mean, if anybody in the world can never make a live event in front of people, then they never understand how to make money. I mean, if people can never make a live event in front of people, they never ever go getting loans and credit cards from people. I mean, in a sense, because you have then no courage to make live events in front of people. I do. I can go to the bank and get myself in debt today to make money, because I make money on the doors. I make money on the live events. I make money in the live events. But what I want to show you here is you need to go and grab money from the bank today to stay away from the 9 to 5 job as much as you can, to boost your career and legacy, is what I'm saying. I mean, once you can do that for a certain period of time, I mean, you're going to learn as much as you can. in that certain period of time. And then eventually your money is going to run out. But then what you do is eventually go to a 9 to 5 job and make live events from that point. Do you understand that? Make live events to the point that you understand that you need to go and grow your confidence now. You have to grow your confidence in front of people, and you have to learn how to do live performances in front of people now. So get the money from the bank and get away from a 9 to 5 job as fast as possible. You understand? But if you are somebody who is unable to do that, and if you're unable to go to the bank to do that because you already did that, now what you do from this point is try on the weekends to go in front of people and to do your passions and busking performances on weekends and on days or during times where there's no chance of you doing a 9 to 5 job, and go alone and do that for yourself. Go and learn as much as you can regardless in your day, and then go and focus on doing live performances in front of people right now with what you have. What you have right now is the best way. If you understand either way that you must start right now to do live performances and just be in front of people. Start to learn how to do that now, even if you're even if you're never ready for it. Roshi, that's it. Roshi, if you understand that, Roshi, just be up in front of people and talk about yourself and your passions. Roshi, that's courage. Roshi, although guess what? It's your story. You have to give it. You must understand either way that you can do it right now. You can go to the bank right now. You can go and make live events right now. If you're working, if you're working on a 9 to 5 job, get the money and make your first event somewhere. Just make your first event. Make it your name and the epiphany of your first name or whatever, and just talk about something. Is it fake until you make it? I'm pretty sure it's never fake until you make it. But it's really understanding that you're going to do something on that day, and you're going to teach something on that day. You're going to teach something to people. You're going to learn something in the process. So go and understand that it's free. You're free. Understand? You're free to do it. You're free to get your money. You've never made a free event in your life. You've made a free event, but you've never ever went somewhere to give money to make an event, have you? Go and do it for the first time. Go and try it. You'll learn something from it. Try to pull out a profit from it. Try to do it for fun. Try to get $700 from your 9 to 5 today, and go and give $500 to some local club around your area, and book the room for 8 hours. Book the room for 8 hours and call yourself someone professional. Call yourself someone professional in some type of field of life. And charge at the door for $200 per ticket. Just go for it. Just talk about your story. Just give some kind of confidence or something. You made the money already. They can never ever come to the door to get the money back. Just go for it. What have you got to lose? Go make that first event that you've never done in your life. But give the money that you have from a 9 to 5 job now to make the one event around the world somewhere, talking about something that you love. Just go and do it. And if you understand, just give $500 or $1,000 to book the room. And you made the money anyway. You have the money from the 9 to 5 job. But then charge at the door ticket sales to come to your event. And more people will come to your events than you bargain with. You may give $1,000, but guess what happens? Or else on the day, you make $10,000. Because you're somebody professional, because you're calling yourself professional on the day. And it's your first event, I promise you. Now, if you understand that, and then guess what you do from that point? You made money on the day, I promise you'll make money. You'll make money. If you never make money on that day, try again. Try somewhere different. Talk about your story again, somewhere different. And eventually, go make a profit in an area of life where you understand that it's working for you. And then just keep going. And make more money and make more events around yourself now. And never stop. Never stop doing it. And then what you make from those events, you pour it back into the bank and into your mortgages. You understand what I mean? Make from the live events and from those businesses right now where you are passionate about and go make live events around that and pull a profit from the door sales. I mean, are you able to make some door sales today? I mean, are you able to get some people in front of you to charge them at the door somewhere about something that you love to do or talk about? I mean, you have to say yes to that. I mean, you have to be able to understand you have to love something to talk about. I mean, there's something in your life that you love to talk about. I mean, it can be your mother. I mean, it can be something. I mean, go give a story. I mean, go give a story, but charge people at the door for it. And call it something professional. And just be someone professional in that. And dress up the part too. And now either way, I promise you, once you do that, now you have people and you've made more events around the world. And now you're pulling in money eventually. I think you're pulling in money eventually. I mean, do you understand that? Because you've done 200 events around Sydney with that money that you're working at a 9-to-5 job with. But you've made 200 events around the world. I mean, now you are eventually making profits. I mean, eventually. But if you just keep doing that, I mean, if you just keep going and getting that money from a 9-to-5 job and making events around the world, I mean, eventually you're making a profit. And eventually that profit goes into real estate. I mean, eventually that profit goes into more business and doing that. So what you do from that profit that you make in business and live events is put it back into that and make more events and more events and more events around yourself. And your money will just build and build and build and build. And when your money is building, eventually, I mean, put it to real estate, if you understand real estate. And just start learning real estate, okay? And then you're picking up a lot. I mean, you're picking up really quickly, but soon enough, you have 500 events, and you're still working on a 9-to-5 job. I mean, you're still working on a 9-to-5 job at 500 events. I mean, guess what? I mean, either way, at 500 events, you never have to work a 9-to-5 job ever again. I mean, 500 events is a long time, but either way, you're pulling a profit. But that's 500 areas of life. I mean, you went to 50 areas of Sydney, you went to 50 areas of Adelaide, you went to Perth. When you went over here, I mean, understand? Because you're making one event at a time with the 9-to-5 job money. I mean, go and do that right away, and then that profit that you're making is going back into your mortgage rate and back into your car loan and back into your bank loan, and you're repaying it off with the events that you're making. And eventually, you're in a plus, baby. And then what you do is you have money in your bank account that is just your money now from the business you made and from the profit that you made with your business. And it's a plus sign. I mean, now you have $100,000 in plus, and you're never in debt anymore, but you gave back all the money to the mortgages, and all the car loans are gone, and all your credit cards are repaid. I mean, you did a recapitalization on all your nice and beautiful financing, and now you have even more money to go with it. So now you have $100,000, and go put $5,000 into this place, and then you'll make $10,000, but that money is just yours now, and there's nothing else to repay anymore. But what do you do then? I mean, you make $5,000 here in one day. I mean, go and put that $5,000 here, or this year you make 15,000. I mean, you pull 10,000 from that point. I mean, go over here and pull money. And guess what? I mean, each time you make a profit, I mean, give it to the bank and give it to the government and make them tax you 60% of it, because that's legal. And then you make $10,000, but you get $4,000, and you go here, and then it's that simple. I mean, it's a slow process. I mean, just understand that. But that's the way. That's the best way. But if you're unconfident, and you understand what I mean in this video, I mean, get yourself a loan from the bank as fast as possible and get yourself in debt. I mean, never wait. I mean, I can get myself into a 9-to-5 job now, and I can make 50 grand right now. I can get a 50 grand loan from the bank right now. I can get a 50 grand loan from the bank because I work a 9-to-5 job, and then I can get away from a 9-to-5 job with the 50 grand in my pocket. I can make 50 grand today in one day just by getting the loan from the bank. I mean, people work for 50 grand for 1 year in Australia. I can get that money from the bank today, and I can go overseas and live overseas for 3 years, man, with $50,000 from the bank. I mean, you understand? I can get a credit card, and that credit card can give me $10,000. I can max it out. I can go overseas with the credit card, and I can live overseas for 2 years with just 10,000 bucks. Africa, I borrow you $10 a night to live over there. I live there for 3 months. I go over here, I live 3 months, I live 3 months, I live 3 months. Because in each country you can be 3 months each. Or you can be 3 months in that country before they ask you to leave. I go to Germany, or else my biological mother lives there. I get a credit card loan. I get a credit card, 10,000 bucks. I just get a credit card today, I get my first ticket there. I get my first ticket to Germany right now. Understand? It's that simple. I have more money than that. Or else, although, you must understand either way. Or else, what's important is understand that you can get a credit card loan and go get yourself one ticket to go somewhere into a country if you want to, and go and enjoy yourself. Get yourself into debt, man. And guess what? You're going to make it back. You can make live events. You can make live events around the world, man. There's nothing to worry about anymore. Be in debt now. Since you understand that, since you understand that there's no more playing it safe, man. Guess what? There's no such thing as playing it safe. Guess what? There is such thing as playing it safe. There is such thing as playing it safe, but the safest place, the safest place in heaven and in life is in your word I, and it's being able to make money. Make more money. That's what I'm saying. Never lose money, but use the money of life to get into debt now to make more money. Use the credit card to go and see your mother. Use the credit card to go Serbia or any country in the world and live there, away from Australia, or away from certain people, or away from the world, to be there for 2 years, or 3 years, or 4 years, and just travel those countries with the freaking bank's money. Understand? You get a 50 grand loan from the bank and just go travel in Europe for freaking 10 years, man. And just go right away. Just go travel right away. What happens is eventually it's going to run out anyway. That money is going to run out, man. The bank's money that you borrow is going to run out. Whether you are sitting in your free accommodation with your father or biological dad or mom, or you are traveling the world, I promise you that money is going to run out. At least you're going to be away from a 9-to-5 job though. In a sense, so that's the whole point. Go away from a 9-to-5 job is what I mean. And build your legacy. Use all the debt that you can to succeed. Get all the money from the bank that you can to succeed. And then once they say, hey, now I want you in a 9-to-5 job to give us the money back, because if you don't, what are they going to do? What is the bank going to do if they, what is the bank going to do on you? What is the bank going to do if you have all this debt on you? How are they going to withdraw the money from you, man? They'll never withdraw the money from you. Bro, if you have $1 billion in debt with the bank, bro, how are they going to get that money in return? How are they going to make the money in return with you? How? First of all, either way, use the freaking money to travel. Use all that debt. $1 billion, imagine what you can do with $1 billion today with the debt. Imagine somebody gave you $1 billion today. And just go travel the world, man. Just say, I'll give you guys money, man. In 50 years' time, I'll give you money. I'll give you guys, in 50 years' time, I have $1 billion in my pocket already. What do you think I am? I'm already a billionaire. I'm already a billionaire. Whereas if you borrow $1 billion from the bank today, you're a billionaire already. Isn't that the fastest way to become a billionaire? The fastest way to become a billionaire today is just borrow $1 billion from the bank. It's already in your pocket. Do you understand? With $1 billion, imagine the bank. Imagine you are in, imagine you're with the bank today, and you're in debt with the bank, $1 trillion. How are they going to withdraw that money from you? How? Are they going to make you work like a slave all your life? They'll never make you work like a slave. They have more money than that. Do you understand? How are they going to make you work for $1 trillion? They're going to chase you. They're going to chase you a long time. They're going to chase you. They're going to say, they're always going to chase you. You understand? Are they going to throw you in jail? They'll never throw you in jail for owing them money, man. They may say you owe us $1 billion, man. They may say it. They may tell you that they may tell you that you owe them $1 billion. Big deal. Are they going to come to your house to arrest you, man? I probably should never. Probably should never come to your house. Probably should never come to your house to arrest you. They'll never do anything to you. I promise you. I promise you, if you die in this world and you never gave them the money back, but you gave thousands of hours of knowledge into this world, you gave them all the money back. You understand? I promise you now, all my 800 hours that I've ever given is worth all the money in the bank, bro and sister. I said, brothers and sisters, if you listen to me now, I have over 800 hours of videos on YouTube. I've given the money back. I've given more money in my videos and in this video alone than all their money in the bank. Rosh, now, if you die in this world with a debt, Rosh, you have no debt anymore. Rosh, if I go to the bank and I say, give me $1 billion, and I never fucking return their money, I never fucking return their money ever again. But I live like a king. I live like a king in this lifetime. I have the biggest legacy in the world. I have fame. I have great legacy because I never have to work a 9-to-5 job. But I did borrow $1 billion from the bank and I'm a billionaire now. You understand? I'm using all this fucking debt from their money, but they're never going to throw me in jail. They're never going to throw me in jail. The worst they can do is they can fucking send me an email saying that I owe them this much money. Understand? That's the best they can do. Understand? Either way, or as what you understand every single day is that now I understand I can get all this money from the bank. I can go as much as, I can go downhill in money, in terms of finance, as much as possible. And I can still make more money in return. Because if I die in this world, if I die in this world with some kind of debt, I never die in debt. Because I'm giving you this video. I have all my videos playing out for me. Look at how much videos I've given you in terms of courses. It's much more worth it than all the fucking money they've given me already. You understand? My videos tell me right now that my debt is plus already. Plus already with my legacy. I just go to the bank, I use as much money as possible from the bank to make my legacy. I go to the bank now, I get the bank's money, and I get the bank's money as much as possible, and I max out the credit cards, I max out the loans, I max out everything I can right now. And I just make as many videos as possible, traveling the world with the bank's money. I'm a billionaire, I'm a trillionaire, I have all the money in the world. I get the bank's money, I make live events too. I get the bank's money, I throw into real estate. I get the bank's money, I do everything with the bank's money. I use other people's money. I'm traveling the world, baby. I'm charging people at the door to see me. I have a great legacy, I have all these freaking videos online. And then I die with $1 million in debt. I die with $1 million in debt. I die with $1 trillion in debt from the bank. I never gave them money in return. I never gave them the money back. I did borrow $1 trillion from the bank, but they never seen that money back. I never gave them the money back. I gave them the money in my videos. I gave them the money in my legacy. With that money that they're giving me, I get that money and I make thousands and thousands of hours of videos. Guess what? These videos are staying here for lifetimes. And it's much more than what I did get from the bank. If I make 1,000 hours of videos, or 500 hours of videos, or 300 hours of videos, I promise you, it's much more, do you understand? Otherwise, what's important is understand that my watch over here goes up every single hour. But what's important is understand that I get the money from the bank. I get the money from the bank. And my 300 hours of videos online is going to be playing in 1 million years time still. I mean, in 1 million years time, people are going to watch me. And I'm still giving them knowledge. So my debt in this planet is repaid through my videos. I mean, my debt and all that I have is in plus already because of all the videos I made. And I've given you the videos, and I've given you the life coaching techniques. I give you the information of God. I gave you everything I can in information for that money I did borrow from the bank. I love it. I mean, so nobody can say that Danny Milivojevic dies in debt, man. I mean, if you die today, I mean, is the bank gonna freaking go around the world and telling the news people today and telling everybody that you are, I mean, that you are some type of individual who is famous who owes the government money still? Or should they never fucking care? I mean, you understand? I mean, they never fucking care, man. I promise you. So, what is the deal? The deal is, if you borrow fucking $1 trillion today from the government, and you die today, and you never fucking give them money back, what happens is the bank forgets about you. I mean, the bank never fucking cares that you have $1 trillion in your bank account. I mean, you fucking gave them back to it. I mean, you went to the fucking bank and you grabbed $1 billion and $1 trillion from the bank, but you gave it fucking back to them anyway. I mean, you fucking gave that money back to them in other ways. I mean, understand? I mean, how can you fucking keep $1 trillion in your pocket while you die? I mean, you can, but guess what? I mean, if you fucking pass away from this world and you're in debt of $1 trillion, I mean, where is that $1 trillion, man? I mean, you gave it to somebody else already. I mean, that $1 trillion is never coming up to you with, I mean, that $1 trillion that you grabbed from the bank, I mean, that $1 trillion that you did grab from the bank is never coming with you to Jesus Christ in eternity, man. I mean, that money that is in printing is already given back by you. I mean, you gave it back, but you are the $1 trillion already. I mean, you are the $1 trillion. I'm just saying that if you just go max out the debt in your life, you become even richer in the process. I promise you. It's leveraging money, man. I mean, never be afraid to go into debt. I promise you. I was so afraid to get into debt before because I was unconfident in my ability to make money. I was unconfident in my ability to be able to become rich. But now, since I understand how to leverage money, I understand how to get into debt. And that's what you have to learn. I can go into the bank today and get all the money I ever need. I can go to see my biological mother now. I can go anywhere I want. I'm the richest man in the world now. I'm the richest man in the world because the bank has infinite amount of printing of money right now. I can borrow whatever I want from the bank. I can borrow any amount of the money from the bank. And I can also fund the bank back. I can fund them. I can fund the bank. And how do I fund the bank? I fund the bank for making live events with their money. I get the bank's money and I fund my events with the money of the bank. I go into a 9-to-5 job and I say, hey, give me a loan. Give me a loan. I have a 9-to-5 job. They're gonna say, how much of the loan do you want, Danny? Give me whatever you can. Give me whatever you can. And they're gonna say, this is how much you can get. Say, give me that. Give me that. I get the money straight away. I put into my events around the world. I leverage the bank's money right away. I use the bank's money. I use $10,000 or $20,000 or whatever they can give me, but I use the 9-to-5 job as my gateway to get the money. I've done it before as well. I went to 9-to-5 job, I had a 9-to-5 job, and I straight away went to the loan to get a loan from the bank, and they gave me $5,000. And they gave me $5,000. $5,000, I can make 10 events. I can make 10 events already. I gave him all the money back as well. I did work for it. Although I understand that what's important is that $5,000 is a leverage for me. I can use $5,000 today to go make events around the world. I can utilize that $5,000 and put it right into events. And what happens with that money? It's other people's money. I never fucking care about that money. I never fucking care about the money. I just want to use the money because I never fucking have to work for $5,000, man. When if you go right now, you can grab $5,000 from the actual. You can grab $5,000 from the banks right now, if you understand that. So what you do is go to the banks now and get $5,000 right now, and then go and fund your event. Fund your fucking first event right now somewhere, and just say something professional about you, and go and test it out for the first time and charge $200 of tickets. $200 per ticket to see you, to say your story and how you grew up, and that's it. You make more money. 3 people come to your door and give you money, or else you already made your money. Or else you already made your money on 3 tickets, and that's it. If you understand, and then 10 tickets come even more, you made $3,000 already. It's so simple, isn't it? But it's the power of leverage of money. That's it. Now you understand every single day that I can go to the bank and I can go around the world traveling and I can go do anything now because I have infinite amount of money in my pocket. Otherwise, I have the bank, man. I just go to the bank to get the money. I go to the government to get the money. I go to other people to get the money. Simple. Go to other people to get the money and never work for the money. If you are forcing yourself to work for the money, get the money and then put it into events. Put it into events then. If you can never even get money from the bank or anybody, then go to the fucking 9-to-5 job and get money and put it into events around the world right now. There's no fucking excuses, man. Do you understand? There's no excuses. So what you do is realize that there is infinite amount of money out there, but you have to be able to leverage it. You have to be able to go to the bank now and with your skills right now, be able to give a live event. Guess what? During the coronavirus pandemic, what can you do? You can go to the bank again. They'll give you some money. Do you have a fucking coronavirus pandemic going on when you can go to the bank and get some money, man? There's no fucking coronavirus pandemic going on. What? What's happening with that fucking coronavirus quarantine shit? Guess what? You go to the bank and say, hey, I have a real estate, man. I want to finance my real estate. That's the excuse that people use. People in real estate, such as Grant Cardone and Dean Graziosi and all these people, are using excuses just for the bank to finance them. Watch this. You have some real estate and say, this is your trick to get some money from the bank. This is how the rich do it. I have real estate over here. I need some financing from the bank. They're going to say, how much financing do you want? I want this much financing because I'm going to do this and this and this to nice beautiful real estate, and I'm going to raise the rents, and I'm going to give you this much money back, and I'll give you a profit. I'll give you a profit as well. Now since you can prove it, you can prove that you can give them more money. They'll give you the fucking money. Guess what? They're fucking idiots. They give you the money and just run off with it and just never fucking give them the money back. Guess what? I like Russia now. Either way, Russia, what you're going to understand? What you're going to understand that you're honest. Honest that they will fucking give you $10 fucking million or 50 million or 60 million or whatever the fuck $1 million you want. Just fucking prove it to them that you can fucking make more money than them. Is that fucking stupid or what? Understand? Either way, it's a smart idea. If you can prove to the bank today that you can make them more money, you can walk into the bank today and say, give me some more money. I'll make you this much more. They'll ask you how you're doing it. They'll ask you how are you going to make more money for us by doing this? You can go to the bank today and you can say, hey, I have a phone business. I want to get $10,000 from you to get some phones to return a profit. As long as you can prove it, that you can do it, Russia will do it for you. And you never even need a 9-to-5 job for that. If you can prove that you can just return the money to the bank with what your business deal is, now, if you can prove it, then they'll return your money. That's it. Now, if you understand every single day that if you go to the bank saying that you have the communicational skills to do so, now, every single day, they'll give it to you. First, that's it. First, now, if you understand every single day, just give them a business plan or idea. First, give them an idea, and just go to the bank and say, hey, I have a business proposition. I want to borrow this much money, but I'll return you this much if you allow me to. In a sense, so what the bank is looking for, or else the bank wants you to make them a profit. The bank wants you to make them a profit. So if you can make them a profit, then you can get your financing. Understand? I realize, although the best way to make a profit with the bank is get an interest one. Get an interest with the bank. And now, say either way, charge me more interest on the loan. Tell them to charge you more interest on the loan then. And or else what's going to happen is that is in their favor. Now since it's in their favor, they're more likely to give you the money. And what does that mean? Or else the interest rate. So the interest rate may be 3 years that you're going to be giving 1% interest rate. But say I'll give you 6% interest rate for 3 years instead. You're going to give them 6 times more money in 3 years. In a sense, so they may say, give us the money back within 3 years on a 1% deal. If they say that and they're happy with that, that's even better for you. But let's say, for example, no matter what, that the interest rate is what we're talking around here. You can go to the bank today and you can get whatever loan you want. But they also require you to be able to return that money. They want some proof or evidence that you can return the money. So, for example, either way, you can say, I have insurance company, or I have 9-to-5 job that I work and I make money. I get profit from this company. In a sense, so you need proof or evidence. I get cash flow from my real estate. So real estate people have real estate, for example. And they say, they go to the bank and say, I can finance a deal. I have real estate, man. The bank will give them money right away. In a sense, so as soon as you get your first real estate, or real estate in terms of Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone can walk into the bank today at any time, man. He can walk into the bank at any time and say, how much money do you want, man? He can make whatever he wants in his money. He can make whatever he wants in his money. You understand? Because he has all the real estate to back it up. He can say to the bank, I want you guys to give me $10 million because I have real estate to back it up. Look at my real estate deals. They're going to look at his real estate deals and they're going to say, yeah, have it. Because he's going to use that money to make more profit, and that's it. He can go to the bank to make more profit. In a sense, so most people can. I realize anybody can. Anybody can go to the bank and make more profit from the banks. If you want to make money today and you want to get rich, you have to go use other people's money. You can never ever get rich at a 9-to-5. I promise you. And that's why I've been learning with Robert Kiyosaki, and I finally understand the mindset of finance. I finally understand that I can go use credit cards and I can use loans and I can prove that I can make more money. I can prove it. But how do I prove it? I make myself understand now that you have an infinite amount of potential within you right now to go to the bank now. You can go to the bank now and you can prove that you can make that money back. If you go to the bank now, how? Where are some proof of evidence today that you can go and get some money to make some money in your life? Or else now, with the government's allowance, for example, with the government's social security, or else if you go to the bank with government's, or else if you go to the bank with the government's social security, first now the bank wants more evidence than that. Every single day, just understand that what's more important is if you're using government's money today, use the money from the government. Understand? But if you want a loan from the bank today, most likely they want a 9-to-5 job. They want you to work a 9-to-5 job to get the loan. And if you want a credit card as well, you have to have, I realize you have to have at least a superstition in terms of regards to have a 9-to-5 job to get a credit card and a loan from the banks. So go to all these companies that you can to get these loans. and then use that money for your events, and just strictly use it for your events, and that's it. I mean, you can do that right away. And then either way, from that point, you're testing the theory of everything that's going on. And then what you're going to do is you're going to write about it, and then you're going to go and make these events around the world around life coaching. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pull a profit. So for example, at Bouldering Australia, in Serbian events, I can pull out $10. I can pull out $10,000 right here. I can pull out $10,000 in profit right here in one night. I mean, in a sense, so what I do is I have to fund the event. I have to give $26,000 to make $10,000. I understand. I make profit $10,000, but I give $26,000. I get into debt. I get into debt of $26,000 to make $10,000 profit. I mean, in a sense, so that's a 1 hour speech. I have a game plan. So my game plan is I understand where the crowd is. I understand how to fund people. I understand how to go and make an event around Serbian people and around areas of town, and understand how also to use the government's money, and also how to fund my events around people and the banks to make this happen. Whereas now, once I can do that, whereas what I do with the money is go and make more events around the world. And now what I do is I go and I do live coaching events around the world, but I'm also increasing my music skills right now. So either way, I'm using the government's money, I'm using the bank's money as much as possible now. I'm using any kind of money that I can. I get it from a mother, I get it from the biological mother, I get it from everybody that I can. I understand I never want to work for money. I want money to work for me. I want to get the money. I get the money, I'll make it work for me. I never want to work for the money. I never want to be a slave for the money. I want the money that I use to be a slave for me. I control the money. I control the money rather than the money controlling me. I understand. So no matter what, I understand that what's important is I'm always talking with the word I. So I understand that I know my word I only. And then I understand either way that now I'm much richer because I understand that I can use the bank's money. I can use all this nice, beautiful real estate game and everything I understand about real estate to pull the money into real estate as much as possible, to have that evidence that I can go to the bank all the time to refinance myself. I can refinance myself with the banks by having real estate with me. So the bank comes up to you and says, how much assets do you have? I mean, what is your asset? I say, my asset is my phone. I say, my asset is my clothes. I mean, my asset is my laptop. I mean, prove to them that you can give them the money back right away. I mean, if you can give them the money back right away, I mean, they'll give you the money right away. So if you want to borrow, if you want to borrow $1,000 from the bank right now, I mean, you never even need a 9-to-5 job. I mean, you never need a 9-to-5 job. I mean, all you need is just say, my phone is worth $550 and my laptop is worth $800. I mean, guess what the bank's going to do? I mean, the bank's going to give you $550 and $800. I mean, that's $1,400 you can borrow from the bank right now, if you just understand that you can do that. I mean, understand? I mean, you can go to the bank and say, hey, I can repay you the money. I can repay you the money. I can give you my phone. I can give you my laptop. I can give you my portable speaker. I have a portable speaker which is $420 here. I can give you the money right now. I mean, I can get $2,000 from the bank right now because I can prove to them that I can give them my portable speaker. I can give them my phone. I can give them my laptop. I mean, listen, I can give them the money right now. I mean, what do I do? I mean, make sure either way, that is what you mean. I mean, that is what the bank wants you to prove, that you can give them the money back right away. So whatever your net worth is right now in life is the money you have in your pocket. I mean, if you can prove to them that you have this kind of money in your pocket, I mean, then you can go and refinance yourself basing it on that money. Whereas if your net worth in your money that's in your pocket is right now $5,000, I mean, you can go to the bank and show them the proof, show them the proof and evidence of that, and then you can go and get a loan from the bank with that amount of money. I mean, you understand? I mean, that's it. I mean, if you go to the bank and understand that if you make a certain amount of money in, let's say, the 9-to-5 job, and let's say the 9-to-5 job is a $30,000 salary, I mean, what you can do in the banks is understand that the net worth of your category of the 9-to-5 job here is your net worth. Now, it's actually whatever's in your bank account right now. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand either way that no matter what, that you have to be able to prove to the bank that you have evidence to support how much you want to borrow. Whereas if you want to borrow $100,000, it's because you have $100,000 to give them right now if anything falls apart. I promise you, although they just make money on your interest. So if you understand, for example, you go to the bank and say, give me $100,000, I have $100,000 in proof and evidence right now to give it to you back if something goes wrong. I mean, what happens is you have the evidence, I mean, nothing goes wrong, I realize nothing goes wrong, but they give you $100,000, but now you're $200,000 in plus. I mean, now you have $100,000, but another $100,000 in your pocket. And then what do you do with $100,000? I mean, guess what? Oh, you can travel the world, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but make that money work for you. I mean, make it work for you, but you can never save that money. I mean, you can never hold the money. I mean, the government wants you today to use that money to give it much more than to hold it. I mean, understand? Because if you hold the money today, you have more power over the banks. I promise you. I promise you now. If you understand, the banks are saying today that the government is the banks. So you must understand that when you're holding the money off, I mean, if you're holding all that money in your pocket, I mean, if you just collect all the money that is printing, I mean, eventually you have more power and control over the banks. But the banks never want you to do that. I mean, the banks never want you to save up that money because anybody can do that. But the banks want you to leverage their money to make money because that way they have more power over you. I mean, or else now I'm always printing money. But if you save up all the money that I print, I mean, eventually, I mean, where is all the printing? I have to print it from trees. I have to print it from everywhere. But guess what happens? I mean, now you're more in power over me because you're suddenly somebody who has all this amount of money that you're printing in terms of that you are saving from my printing. So what I want you to do, and let's say I'm the government and I'm the banks, I'm making sure here that I'm trying to teach you that I want you to leverage my money as much as you can so that I can be more in power. So that you can save less of that money for yourself because it's going down in value. And I want people to, let's say, for example, that it's really, that is the bank. So I want you to understand either way that what's important is understand. I want you to understand this, that when you're working for money or when you're doing anything in life, that the banks want you to leverage their money so that they never want you to save money. I mean, if you save money, you have more power. Anybody can do that. But if you use their money to leverage their money to become richer with their money, virtually now, you're never a slave to money and you're in control of your financing too. But people who are unable to do this are people who work like slaves for the government and the banks. I mean, that's why the banks want to leverage everybody to use the bank's money and the government's money to make riches. Because most of the world today wants to save money. I mean, most of the world today wants to save money, and that's why they're slaves to the banks and governments. But the governments want you to go and use their money to succeed so that you can become richer. I mean, when you can become richer every single day, then you can understand that you can only ever become rich in financing today, especially in financing, while going to the banks to get that money. And that's it. I mean, you can never ever get rich in this lifetime other than making yourself communicate more, because communication is the number one way to get richer. And then it's health, and then it's financing. Whereas now, first it's Jesus Christ. I mean, in a sense, so first it's your word I. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand that Jesus Christ wants you to understand the word I is everything. But follow Jesus Christ, because that's the word I. I mean, in a sense, so every single day, understand that what's important now for you is to go to deliver as much content as you can to get yourself into debt in front of people to make money. Right now, just leverage as much as you can from the bank and as much as you can from other people to make money. It's that simple. Get yourself into debt as much as you can so that you can learn how to finance yourself. That's all I'm saying. As soon as you understand how to make more money, is how you understand how to get yourself into debt and how to leverage people's money. And now, every single time, you have to have the net worth and the capacity to understand that what you have in your net worth now is what you can borrow from the bank. So, for example, I have more and more net worth every single day. But if you have, for example, a 401k or superannuation fund or something where you've been working for the government somewhere and you have a superannuation account where a certain amount of money goes from the 9 to 5 into that account. And it's like a mutual fund or something like that, or a hedge fund. And now that money is something that you can go to the bank and you can require that money in your pocket now. You can go to the banks now and say, I want to borrow money because my superannuation or my 401k or my hedge fund has this amount of money in it, and I'll give it to you if I lose this money. I never lose money, but what's amazing is they'll give it to you. They'll give you the money right away if you can prove that you have the money already. If you have $1,000 in your bank account right now, then you can go borrow $1,000, is what I'm saying. So what you do is how much money you have in your pocket now is how much you can borrow at the banks. And that's the only occasion. That's it. Now, whatever amount of money you have in your pocket is how much you can borrow in the banks. And just prove it to them that you have the money. And now leverage that idea. That's how you borrow money, really. Forget possessions and all this, but possessions, yeah, guess what? It counts too. It counts. In that sense, so what you need to realize this, that the best way to go and make money with the banks today is make some money to borrow that money with the bank. Is that simple? So if you have $10,000 in your pocket, you can go and leverage $10,000 with the bank. You can grab $10,000 with the bank too. Of course, they want you to get into debt. They want you to get into debt. As soon as you go and grab that $10,000, now you're in plus. You're never in debt. You're in plus, mate. If I have $10,000 and I go to the bank and I get a $10,000 debt in terms of a $10,000 surplus, or I get another $10,000 and I put into my bank account, or now I have $20,000, but they may be charging me 3% interest for another 3 years, for example. Yeah, but guess what? Either way, I have the money now. It's in my pocket. It's in my pocket. I have the money. So what do I do with the money? Now let's make the money. What do I do with $20,000? I get $20,000. I go to the next bank. Why not? I have $20,000. I get $20,000. I'll go to ANZ Bank. I go to another bank and say, I have $20,000 here. I want you guys to give me something with this money that I have because I can prove that I can give it to you. You can do this. Now they give me they give me another $20,000. I have, guess what? I have $30,000 in plus now. I get 40,000. I go to NAB Bank because I went to Commonwealth Bank to get the money. Commonwealth Bank gave me $10,000 because I have $10,000. I have $20,000. I went to ANZ Bank. I showed them $20,000 because I did get $10,000 from the Commonwealth Bank. And now ANZ Bank is going to say, yeah, you can get $20,000. Guess what? They give me $20,000. I have 40,000. I go to NAB Bank. NAB Bank gives me 40,000 again because I can prove to NAB Bank that I have $40,000 in my bank account. Now I have $80,000. I have $80,000. Whereas now $80,000, I have to call up another bank. Which other banks will give me money? Just then, I can give myself $80,000 from that point. So either way, no matter what, regardless, at $26,000, I make $10,000 per hour. That's my night. That right here is my night. That's my night. I made my night over here. I just have to get the first $26,000 to make the first $10,000 in plus. Do you understand what I mean? I make $26,000. I make $26,000. I mean, I get it from the bank. I get the money from the bank. I understand every single day that if you go and let's say make an event, but it's $26,000 to rent the room, but then you make $36,000 on the day. I mean, you made $10,000, but without tax, is what I mean. So I understand that for myself in the world, I can make $10,000 per hour right now, but I have to fund the events. I have to fund those events. And what I do is I travel Australia with a band and musicians around Australia, and I get the money from the bank to fund these events. And I fund the events and I make $10,000 per hour to give one keynote speech. And I fund them for the rest of my life. I can make $12 million in Australia alone just by making these events around musicians and around my public speaking around Australia and around Serbian people. In a sense, so that's something I have to do. I understand that's my road. So what I have to do is I have to max it out. I have to be able to go into debt of $26,000, and I have to have a net worth of $26,000 to make more. I mean, now that's a number. I mean, that's a number to get to, and that's brilliant. I mean, that's brilliant because I can now find myself even doing better from this point, because it's no longer that I have to make $400,000 to make a certain amount of money. I mean, it's no longer that I have to make $100,000 at the 9 to 5, but just make $26,000. I mean, just make $26,000 and I'm free for life. I'm free for life, baby. So how can I make even less money in a way that I can profit more? So what I do is I have to now find how I can make much more money. I mean, in a sense, so what I have to do is now I can make $26,000 to make $10,000 and plus. So what other kinds of events around the world can make me do much better? But I have Mounties, for example, so I can go to this nice beautiful place and it's $500 just for 8 hours of the room, but there's people around there and I can charge people at $200 over here per ticket. And now I can understand that's my gateway. I can understand that's the gateway. But then I understand either way that is an even better gateway for me. That is a even better gateway because I understand that either way that I can fund that event now. I can fund the event now, and either way I can make that event come true. Just with the money I have. So what I do is I keep making that event per month. I understand that since I make that event, or else I have to find more events around town. Or else, although it's actually the case. Whereas now, if I fund that event weekly over there, I understand that I can make a profit. But I understand every single day that what's important is I have to find myself going to new events and somewhere else where I can pull a profit. So once a month, I understand I can make a profit at Mounties once a month. I can, once a month. I mean, it's worth it. I mean, it's worth the hassle because I understand I can pull a profit from it. But in other places, unfortunately, I have to call them up. I have to call other places up and I have to get their figures. I have to get people's figures. So what I do is I go around the world and I call up places and I see how much is the room. I mean, how much is the price of the room, and that's it. I mean, that's how I can understand how to make money. I mean, if the room is $200 and I can charge $200 on the door, I mean, do you understand? I mean, the room is $10,000 per night, I mean, and then I can charge $200 per night. But I increase the prices then. I increase it to $2,000 per ticket. I mean, so make sure you understand that the more expensive the room is, the more expensive my tickets are. I mean, so either way, I make everything affordable by making sure now to understand that no matter what the cap now, I understand every single day is just $500, which is just put into an event to make the event, and that's it. I mean, that's the gateway. But now I understand every single day that what I need to do from this point is I need to make more events around the world. I need to make more events. So I have to go and calling up more events. I have to see more events. Because if I make this one weekly at where I want to, I understand that I can, but I feel that I need to go and do much better. I have to do better than that. I have to go somewhere else. I can feel it. I can feel it. I can suss it out. But I understand that once a month here, I wish I could do it once a month. Actually, once a month, definitely. So that's my cash flow. I mean, cash flow comes from this place over here because they can give me the room for 8 hours and I can do what I need to do. And then I understand every single day that another place can give me $10,000 per hour. I mean, that's the next step forward. So I understand that either way. I understand other places here and there, whereas now there are other places where it may never be the best decision to go because the crowd is low in that place and there's no people there. So if there's a lot of people in that RSL club or workers club, then it's worth it for you. But realize that what is amazing is go to a place that has a lot of people. So the casino or places where they're playing a lot of pokies and they're gambling. Those places, they can come see you. Although, guess what? Yes. It's much more worthy of you. I mean, although, make sure you have an advertisement going per month here. Like, go around places where there's like a showroom or something like that going on and make them promote you on the billboard somewhere. That's a place where you can make some money, where you can be on the billboard somewhere. I mean, you understand? So where you can also be on their pages and they have a large Facebook page or Instagram. And what you do is you can make events around those places. And then also you can call up the nightclubs once you have your music production as well, and then go to those places and fund yourself to get there. And then you can make money at the door as well if you want to. So those are some nice, beautiful, interesting ways to make money. But understanding either way that what's important is if you want to borrow any amount of money from the bank, or else you can only borrow from the bank to the net worth that you have. Or else if you have a net worth of the money in your life, in terms of plastic money that they print, I mean, the printing of your money is, let's say, $5,000 in your pocket. I mean, then you can only borrow $5,000. I mean, whatever money you have in your life is what you can borrow, and that's it. I mean, you can only borrow from the bank how much you have. Because what the bank wants to do is, if something happens where you are unable to make that money much more, then you go into debt really quickly. I mean, if you're unable to pull a profit from the money that you have, then you're going into debt. But I can never go into debt because I can pull a profit out. I can pull out profit. I mean, in a sense, so if I go to the bank now, I mean, here is an even better idea. And I can prove it to the bank right now that I can make money now. I mean, this is my gateway. I mean, this is the gateway. I mean, this is everything that I can do. I mean, right now, I can pull out a profit right now. I can go to the bank. I can go to the bank right now and I can say, hey, I need $26,000 to fund this event in Bonnering right now. I need $26,000 to fund this event at Bonnering. And they're charging $88 per seat to have 300 people at the event. And I want to advertise myself 1 month over here. And I want to pull people to come to this event for me. And I'm going to have musicians here, I'm going to have all this. But what I'm going to do is I need $26,000 to fund their event so that I can make so I can make $10,000 in plus. I mean, they're going to say, how are you going to do that? I'm going to say, I'm going to charge people $200 per ticket. I'm going to charge $200 per ticket, yeah. Understand? Are they going to give you the money though? First, now, there's a chance that they are going to give you the money. First, there's a big chance that they're going to give you the money and that we're going to go on the risk over here. I mean, guess what? I mean, there's no risk. There's no risk at all. I mean, guess what? I mean, if there's any risk, I'm pretty sure that no matter what, the bank's going to say here that you can just give us the money over the time then if something goes shit over here. That's what they say. If something goes shit around my beautiful event over here, I'm pretty sure either way that what I do here is I prove to the bank that I can actually make the money and I can make them money as well. Because what you need to understand, you have to make the bank money from this. I mean, you need to be able to be somebody who can make the bank money. I mean, if you can make the bank money with what you want out of life, then the bank can make you money too. I mean, that's the kind of business we're looking at. So what you need to understand that if you can go to an event today or around the world and you can pull out a profit for yourself and the bank with that, then you can also get the money you want. But you have to prove that. I mean, now, I can prove it. I can prove that I can go to Bonnering Sports Club, which is a Serbian club right now. And what I can do in this club is I can make an event around I can get some musicians, I can get a large crowd coming in, and I can get them food and drinks, and I can make a big event around and I can give a 1 hour speech, and I can make $10,000 per speech in this club. And now, how do I do that? I charge $200 per ticket. I charge $150 per ticket. I apologize. I mean $150, because that's what the calculation is. I mean $150 per ticket. I mean people are going to come, and it's going to be a 300 people or 500 people sellout. And now I can even borrow more money. I can borrow more money from the bank here, and I can do this monthly. I can go to the bank again and again and again to get this money from the bank to just fund this event, because what happens is I make $60,000 on the day. I mean, now 60% of it is tax. I mean, that's what goes to the government. I mean, in a sense, so what is 60% from 60,000? I mean, you must understand, either way, I make $10,000 per month because I get my 26,000 back. But that 26,000 is the bank's money. I mean, that's the bank's money. So what happens here is everything goes the other way. So I never even have to work for that money in the first place. I never have to work for the money that is the, let's say, money for Bonnering to make a nice beautiful event over there. But the bank is your investor in terms of the real estate. I mean, if you're looking for an investor today, the bank is your investor. I mean, if you're calling millionaires and people to invest in you to your categories of life, I mean, be calling the bank for that. So what you do now is realize this, that if you can pull out a profit right now with real estate, I mean, if you can just go searching for real estate right now, and you can pull out a profit from that real estate right now, rushing down, the bank is going to give you the money right away because you can prove that you can go and give them the money. Rushing out, what you do now, you start searching for real estate now, I mean, right away, and then pull a profit out right now. I mean, now I understand I never have to go calling Grant Cardone and these millionaires around the planet, because the millionaires and the billionaires are my bank. I mean, I just go to the bank for that. Because if you want to borrow money from somebody, just go to the bank and borrow from the bank money, but never borrow money from any other individual other than the bank now. I mean, understand? So if you want to borrow money from people, I mean, borrow from everybody. I mean, borrow from whoever wants to give you. But the bank will give it to you if you can just prove it. I mean, now, I understand now I have real estate ways to make money, and I also have ways to make money with my business right now and a life coaching gig. And the amazing thing about it is I can go to Bonnering Sports Club right now and I can fund their event. I can give them money right now. But the bank's in on it. I mean, the bank's my business partner here. And now I have to borrow $26,000 from the bank to fund this massive event of 300 people in Bonnering Sports Club. I mean, 300 people, I mean, it's $88 per seat. I give them money. I give $88 per seat here. I mean, understand? I mean, I give the money to the musicians to be there all day long. And what I do is I charge more at the door. I mean, since it's $80, since it's $88 per ticket, and the musicians, I mean, they're gonna work for free. I make them work for free. I make them work for free. I mean, they go, because my biological dad is a singer. My biological dad is a singer, and my biological dad will say, "Let's go work for cash." I mean, they'll work on black money. I mean, they're gonna work illegally. I mean, understand? I mean, they're gonna work illegally. I mean, that's on them. But what I do is I give them some money here and there. I say, I'll give you $300 each to work on the day. And either way, they're going to work, but they're going to work on cash anyway. So they're going to work on black money, which is illegal money. So they're going to make $1,000 each on the night from the people, but they're going to put in their pocket, and they're never going to tell the bank about it. I mean, they're never going to tell the government about it, but that's got nothing, I mean, that has nothing to do with that. I mean, either way, or else what I do from this point is the bank gives me the 26,000. I fund their event. I get 300 people in the, I get 300 people in the event. I come up on the stage, I give a 1 hour speech. I give a 1 hour speech in Serbian. I give a 1 hour speech in Serbian or Croatian, or as my biological dad is watching me. I can give an English speech too, but either way, I made the money, I understand every single day. Then I made $60,000 on that day, but tax is 60%. So I have to let the government see this. I have to be able to understand that if I fund the event, or if I fund the event with my money, for example, then I still have to go through the government. I still have to make that money legally. I mean, either way, it's much better for me to go to the bank right away and to fund the deal with the bank right away. Because either way, it's much better for me to get the money right away from the bank than having to work for that money. I mean, the bank wants to pull a profit right away. So they want you to go make an event right away. I mean, the bank wants you to make the profit with the bank right away without having to wait 5 years to make the money to do it. I mean, the bank will give you the money right now, but go make the bank money. I mean, in a sense, so if you understand how to make money now, I can pull a profit right now with the bank. And these people are waiting. And they're waiting right now to make an event. I mean, they're begging for somebody to make an event. I mean, understand? So what I do is I just go and get the money from the bank now. I just go to the bank and say, hey, I can pull a profit from this place. I mean, how are you going to do it? I mean, what's the calculations? I mean, the calculations is $150 per ticket at the door. I mean, it's $88 per seat, and there's 300 venue. I mean, there's 300 people at the venue. I mean, it's $88 per ticket. I make money regardless. I may make $5,000 on the day. I may make $2,000 on the day. I may make $1,000, but I make profits. I make myself and the bank money. So of course, I mean, $10,000 is something that I did calculate as the max percentage I can make in this place and more. I can make more than that in this place. But either way, whereas I'm never capping myself at max potentials in money. I say my max is my word I. But what's amazing is on the day, I can pull out a $1,000 profit. I can pull out $2,000 profit. I can pull out, I just recently seen, I can pull out $10,000 on the day. I can do it in 1 hour. I mean, just 1 hour. I just show up for 1 hour, man. I mean, the headliner is Danny Milivojevic night, and there's musicians and there's food and drink going around. And there's a big event. I mean, people coming together. I mean, people are going to give money for it. I mean, people coming to go out and to do something tonight at some area of life. And since 300 Serbs or 300 people are coming to one event, which is just a cultural event of Serbian people, I mean, they're going to give $150 each to see me. Because I'm the headliner of the show. I'm somebody that they want to see, because at 7 p.m. on that night I'm going to show up in front of them, and they're all going to be sitting there waiting for me to show up and watching me. So what I do is I prove it to the bank. I show them the numbers. I say $150 per ticket. I say $88 per seat. I say 300 people. I say 300 times 88. It's $26,000 for the event for me to fund it. I mean, understand? I mean, guess what? I mean, since they give me $150 at the door, when they give me $150 at the door, mate, I mean, they're saying, so I'm at the door, I mean, I make the money at the door. I understand. So when they come in, I realize either way that if less people come up to the event, I then have a minus. I didn't have a minus here, but guess what? It's like a gamble, isn't it? I mean, it's like a gamble, but either way, I'd rather go for it because there's much more chance I'm going to pull a profit from it. I mean, either way, whereas now, what is the max capacity of, I mean, how much people do I need to make a profit with? I have to calculate that. I have to calculate over here. I have to calculate right now. And I have to show you that $88 per ticket times 300 is 26,000. I mean, the understand is to fund the event. So I have to get that money from the bank right now. And now $150 per ticket times 300. I mean, that's 45,000 I make on the day. I say minus 26,400. I make $18,000. I make $18,000 right here. So that's at $150 per ticket. So either way, I say 18,600 is extra money I make from the event. I make extra money from this. So either way, 60% of this is going to be tax. I mean 60%. So either way, I say divide by 2, I say divided by 2, so another 10%, I say 10% of that. So either way, I make the bank here $8,000. I make the event, I make people in terms of the bank, I make them $8,000. I promise you although that calculation is actually something else, because it's actually some other type of number per seat. I mean, per seat, I realize that $88 per seat is the 500 venue. I mean, 500 venue times 88 is 44,000 to fund this event. But then 150 times 500 is 75,000. I make 75,000 on the day, divided by 2. I mean 37,000 right here. I mean now it's 37,500 divided by 2. I make 18,000 right here. I mean, do you understand? So either way, that no matter what, or else what's amazing is I make $10,000 on a day, and I also pull out a profit with the bank. I mean, in a sense, so if you understand every single day, that what's important is now to get that number. So the minimal amount of people to make money at the door right now with 150 is I have to find a number with this. So what I do is I make sure I look at the number of people that are coming to the event. I mean, I make sure that if it's 150 people, I mean, so $9,000, I mean, I have to have at least 90 people. I have to have at least 90. I have to have 220 people at the event to be able to have my money back, for example. So 220 people, or else now, is it really? Or else now 220 times 150. Say, over here, I say either way, or else now $9,000 profit divided by 150. I mean 60 people. So either way, I understand that no matter what, that I realize that around my life, I understand that what's important is I have to find the numbers much better, by making sure either way that I have to have a full sellout of this arena. I realize that just the other week, I understand I'm following this place, and this place has a full sellout already. I mean they're sold out. I mean 50% of the tickets are sold out. I mean, so I understand I can get 50% of the people inside right now. I understand, so that's already, I mean, since it's 50% of the people, I mean, so if you understand to just get 50% of the people in there, I mean, now you can pull out profit, or I can pull out profit of 4,500 with the bank. Or else the bank and I will make 4,500 each with just 50% capacity inside that sellout. Whereas now, if there's 25% of the people there, I still make here half the money of that. So I make $2,000 on the night, and the bank will make $2,000 on the night. So if there's just 25% of the people who show up here, I still make money. I still make a profit. I mean, so that's how you calculate money. So if you calculate money, you calculate by half. You calculate everything by half and by full percentages. I realize every single day I understand now I'm much smarter about money, by making sure you understand that no matter what, I'm just doing this to understand now that I can go to the bank now and I can just go get this nice beautiful money going, because that's how I fund the event. But my other event at Mounties over here, I understand over here it's something very, very similar, but it's different. But over here it's just randomly. I mean, over here it's random. I mean, it's just a book out the room. I mean, in a sense, so either way, I realize now that's different, but over here it's much more of a capacity. I mean, here it's like, here in terms of the room is much more of like a Bonnering kind of event where there's actual chairs and there's actual food going on and reception area and all that. So you must understand it's like a function. I mean, essentially, I mean, those type of events you need to go around the world doing much more. So I understand that Melbourne has one. I said now with the banks, I can tell the banks this. I'm gonna say I lead my musicians. We go to Bonnering, and we go to Melbourne, and we go to Adelaide, and we go to Perth. I need you to fund my events. I need you to go and make my events come true, so that I can make these events for you and us, so that I can go and do my events in terms of so I can understand now that what I can do is I can make 5 events around Australia every single month with just musicians, with myself giving a 1 hour speech around Australia and booking out events and making $10,000 per speech. Unfortunately, it's true. But I say to them, I fund the musicians to get there. I fund the musicians to get there. I fund people, I make the events, I come there 1 month earlier, or else my biological father's a singer, or else I make money on him anyway. But what's amazing is understanding. I make money like this. But I make money in a way that I understand that the banks are going to watch me. And I give the money to the bank right away. And that's how I do it. I make sure every single day, you understand, now I can go find myself around Australia right now. I can go right now to Australia and I can go and get that money and I can go pour it into real estate right now. And I can get any type of numbers from real estate now. I can go search for real estate now and I can find a number of a real estate that I want. And I can say to the bank, hey, I mean, this real estate is this old and it's this much and this is the rent. But I understand this one, I can hold it for 50 years. I can hold it for the rest of my life. Although, guess what? I mean, how do I prove to the bank that I'm going to do this? Is I'm going to give them a profit in return to make sure that either way I'm getting somebody in. So no matter what, as soon as I can prove to them that I can make the numbers come true with this one, which is what? I mean, what are the numbers of coming true? I mean, what are the numbers in terms of coming true in terms of the real estate in life? I mean, as long as you can pull out a profit to give the money back to the bank in a certain amount of time, actually that's it. Actually, if you can pull out the money from that real estate for the interest rates that they're giving you in a certain space of time, then you can also get the money from the bank. So Grant Cardone says that 4 years is the max that you can go and be with a bank, for example. I mean, be with the bank for 4 years and just repay what they give you in 4 years. And then the bank will also give you the money if you can prove that you can give the money from the real estate to the bank from that real estate. And that's it. I mean, if you can do that, then you can also financial deals all over the world. I mean, it's really simple. I mean, it's really simple strategies. So what you need to understand that now, for myself, I just skip right into the 10,000 range right now because I understand that what's important is myself making events around the world. So I understand that, for example, with the nightclubs and all that, of course, that's all different, but it's also similar to the capacity of Bonnering, for example. So I understand every single day, it's just much more important to realize that I just love my life. I just love my life in a way that I'm going to go and develop this nice, beautiful skill now. That I have the money, I have the banks right now, I have people that I can leverage money off. I can leverage all this money. I have all this money coming in. I understand. So what I do is I just go and understand that I'm just free to live life now. I can leverage the credit card loans. I can go and do whatever I want to do because I understand how to make events around the world. And that's the amazing thing about it, guys. So if you understand how to go and make these events around the world, and you understand how to pull a profit for you and the banks, that's all the bank wants. Now, if you can never do that, now, then never do it. I understand? Because then it's never even worth it for the bank to give you the money because you're losing money from the bank and yourself. But if you can understand yourself first in terms of the word I, and then understand you pull a profit for you and everybody in that field, and then you can't do it. I mean, even if you make $500, I mean, the bank will give you the money. I mean, in a sense, so make sure you understand every single day, prove it to the bank, and then make the event come true as soon as possible. Understand? I mean, either way, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video, but make sure you guys understand how to be great and how to leverage your money, and just keep watching my videos every single day so that you can prosper.